Chapter 262. The thunder rumbled. Although it had yet to strike, Guopai could already feel that it was not as simple as the three wrath heavenly thunder. Guopai was a little nervous. However, looking at Yun-Er, who was at the eye of the formation, Guopai felt relieved. With Yun-Er's current state, it was not a problem for her to withstand the 6 wrath heavenly thunder. Damn, the 9 wrath heavenly thunder. It's just the soul returning to the body. The heavens must be blind. Guopai's heart had just calmed down. He did not expect that the moment the soul and Yun-Er completely merged, the heavenly thunder would come crashing down. If this was not the 9 wrath heavenly thunder that Chun Qingyuan attracted when he ascended to the heaven realm, what else could it be? Guopai did not dare to leave. Once he left, the formation around him would be messed up. However, if he did not leave, the remaining power of the 9 wrath heavenly thunder would turn him into ashes. Brother bad guy, hurry up and leave Yun-Er. This 9 wrath heavenly thunder is not something you can withstand. Yu-Er shouted the moment the heavenly thunder came. Although she had not experienced the 9 wrath heavenly thunder, she had followed Chang Yi for tens of thousands of years. Even if she had not eaten pork, she had seen pigs run. In the past, countless Aura's core stage experts had died under the heavenly thunder. Guopai was only in the enlightening stage. The remaining power of the heavenly thunder could indeed turn him into ashes. Guopai gritted his teeth and took out a mountain river painting from the Elder Lord's gourd. With his current strength, he could at most unleash 10% of the power of the mountain river map. The biggest advantage was that he could enter the mountain river map when the heavenly thunder struck. As for whether he could survive, he did not know. Brother bad guy, hurry up and enter the mountain river map. You big idiot. Yu-Er shouted, just as she was about to bite her tongue and use the great witch's secret technique to save Guopai. A tender voice entered her ears. Sister, Master will be fine. I can handle this 9 wrath heavenly thunder. The one who spoke was Yun-Er, who suddenly opened her eyes. She was so charming that even Yu-Er could not see Yun-Er clearly. Guopai closed his eyes. If he was going to die, then so be it. Yun-Er waved his hand and a terrifying power clashed with the heaven lightning. Yu-Er's eyes widened. This is the power of virtue. How can there be so much of it? This is unbelievable. Who exactly is Yun-Er? Ba. If I don't kill Boren, how can Boren die for me? I've already withstood the heavenly lightning, so don't make things difficult for the true monarch. Yun-Er stopped in midair and looked up at the sky. The second wave of 9 wrath heavenly thunder disappeared into the horizon. Yun-Er's original body is the benevolent heart Buddha. No wonder he could still have such a terrifying amount of power of virtue after being reincarnated for 10,000 years. Bad guy bro has struck gold this time. Yu-Er looked at Yun-Er, who was falling from midair, and said excitedly, this trip to the mortal realm was going to be interesting. The benevolent heart Buddha, the role model of all Buddhas, actually followed Guopai after being reincarnated. The more she thought about it, the more interesting it was. He withstood it. To think that the 9 wrath heavenly thunder can be used like this. Guopai looked at Yun-Er, who was falling, and flew over to catch him. He slowly checked Yun-Er's body. He was only unconscious and did not have any major injuries. Finally, he heaved a sigh of relief. Bad guy bro, do you know who Yun-Er was in his previous life? Yu-Er smiled and looked at Guopai. I don't know. I have only ascended to the heaven realm tens of thousands of years ago. In the heaven realm, other than the million immortal seats in the heavenly court, there are also 10,000 Buddhas in the Western Pure Land. I know everyone. However, it seems like Yun-Er was a powerful person in his previous life. He withstood the 9 wrath heavenly thunder directly. Benevolent heart Buddha, do you know him? He was the most talented Buddha in the Buddha world under the Dipankara Buddha. Yu-Er smiled and said. Guopai opened his eyes wide. No matter how ignorant he was, he still knew the name of Benevolent Heart Buddha. The path to heaven lasted for 300 years, which was the path to the west that the golden cicada took. The path of merit used by the immortals in the heavenly court to eliminate their karma. The Benevolent Heart Buddha walked for a total of 300 years. As for how much merit he obtained, no one knew. However, it was rumored that the benevolent heart Buddha was killed by the Demon King during the Great War of Buddha and Demon 10,000 years ago. No one expected him to be reincarnated in the mortal realm. No wonder he is natal complete. Let's wait until Yun'er wakes up. I heard some movement at the foot of the mountain just now. Are Zhu and Kong Fei okay? Guopai asked softly. I don't know. I heard quite a lot of movement at the foot of the mountain. I asked your junior brother Tong Yuan to go down and take a look. There was no movement for a long time. I think the matter has been settled. Yun'er smiled and said, Boss, if Yun'er's matter is settled, come down quickly. Kong Fei used the essence blood of a great witch. His breath is very weak now. I can't handle him. Just as the two were talking, Tong Yuan shouted loudly. Guopai and Yun'er looked at each other. The two of them carried the unconscious Yun'er and flew down the Wuji Peak. Big bad brother, this secret method of activating the essence blood of a great, which was also taught to Kong Fei by Yun'er also had the blood of a great witch. Before she reached Kong Fei, she could feel the aura of a great witch in the air. He must have used the secret method of a great witch. This secret method could increase one's strength quickly. Of course, the side effects were not small. For Kong Fei, it was already very lucky that he was not dead. Guopai did not say much. He handed Yun'er over to Taoist Bu'er. Then he took out a jade green pill and stuffed it into Kong Fei's mouth. Following that, he used 9 silver needles to protect Kong Fei's heart meridian. A trace of heartache appeared in his heart. The heavens were not kind, but Kong Fei was his own person. These days, he had been treating Kong Fei like a disciple. How could he not feel heartache? This is Mount Shu. I want to go to the Divine Martial Palace. Back then, Wuji Taoist left behind many good things that can help Kong Fei recover quickly. Guopai said calmly. Taoist Bu'er opened his eyes wide. Kid, you're not from Mount Shu. You cannot go to the Divine Martial Palace. Even a guest elder like me does not have the qualifications to enter the Divine Martial Palace. Taoist Bu'er said softly. Zhang Bujing and Fei Tianyong both have bad tempers. Although I do not know how strong you are now. If the two of them were to go all out, you and I would not have a chance of winning, even if we worked together. Furthermore, there are arrays set up outside the Divine Martial Palace. I do not know where to go in. You guys wait for me at the Wuji Peak. I will bring Kong Fei up. The arrays outside the Divine Martial Palace are nothing to me. Guopai said softly. Back then, he had an extremely good relationship with Wuji Taoist Bu'er. He ascended to the heaven realm before Wuji Taoist Bu'er. Later on, Wuji Taoist Bu'er also ascended to the heaven realm. He was the current Wuji true lord of the heavenly court. Back then, Wuji Taoist Bu'er's residence was also very close to Mind Reading True Lord's residence. Brother bad guy, let me go with you. At that time, we can take care of each other. Yun'er said softly. Guopai nodded his head lightly. Taoist Bu'er still wanted to say something, but he was pulled back by Yun'er, who had already opened her eyes. Guopai looked at Yun'er and smiled. He pulled Yun'er and leaped towards the cliff of the Wuji Peak. Zhu opened his eyes wide. However, Yun'er and Guopai floated in midair and walked up step by step. Yun'er, how do you feel? Taoist Bu'er watched as Guopai brought Yun'er and Kong Fei away step by step. Then, they disappeared into the void. He could not help but ask his disciple. My soul has returned to my body. I feel that my entire body is filled with energy. Furthermore, I am now in the enlightening stage. Yun'er said with a smile. Cough, cough, what did you say? You are now in the enlightening stage. Taoist Bu'er was stunned by Yun'er. After living for so many years, he had never seen a situation where a mortal directly reached the enlightening stage. Not to mention the enlightening stage, other than a kid who was struck by lightning and went from the Hoteon stage to the post-celestial stage, there had never been such a thing. However, today it happened to his disciple. Furthermore, she had jumped a few levels. Chapter 263. In about 3 minutes, Guopai brought Yun'er and Kong Fei to the front of a large hall. On the 36-meter-tall door, there were the words Divine Martial Hall printed in golden light. Please wait. I wonder why the two of you have barged into the forbidden area of Shushan. A young Taoist in his early 20s noticed Guopai and the other two and asked loudly. However, his eyes were fixed on Yuer. Move aside. I want to borrow Shushan's rest returning platform. If you need to go in and report, hurry up. Don't waste my time. Guopai originally wanted to find the two sect masters of Shushan and politely borrow the rest returning platform. However, who would have thought that before entering the divine martial hall, this young Taoist would actually look at Yuer with a trace of evil thoughts? Guopai's temper immediately flared up. What big tone? Do you think the rest returning platform is something you can borrow as you wish? Now that you have barged into Shushan's forbidden area, it's already a capital offense, the young Taoist said loudly. He didn't bother to be polite with Guopai and directly pulled out his sword to stab at Guopai. How dare you attack me? Back then, even Master Wuji didn't dare to do this to me. Guopai roared and sent the young Taoist flying with a kick. He pushed open the door and barged in. Sect Master, this is bad. Senior brother Yin Luo has been injured. Someone has barged into the divine martial hall. The other young Taoist who was with the young Taoist saw that his senior brother had been kicked unconscious and quickly ran into the divine martial hall. Yuer, I'll put Kong Fei on the rest returning platform first. Otherwise, he won't be able to keep his life. Guopai said softly and walked into the divine martial hall. He was very familiar with this place. In the past, he had fought with Master Wuji here many times. Naturally, he knew where the rest returning platform was. F*CK. The resting platform hasn't been activated yet. Could it be that the people of Shushan haven't used the resting platform after so many years? He had indeed found the rest returning platform. However, there was not even a trace of energy fluctuation. Guopai opened his eyes wide. Damn it! I still have to activate this array formation to use the rest returning platform. How troublesome. Although he said that, Guopai had already taken out a pile of decent jade cores. Yin Ting, you said that someone broke into the divine martial palace. How many of them? What's their strength? The sword sect's patriarch, Zhang Bu, was stunned and asked loudly. 2 people, no, 3 people. I can't tell how strong they are, but they knocked out senior brother Yin Luo with 1 kick. Yin Ting said softly. However, he was also muttering in his heart. Was he talking about 3 people or 2? Sect Master, it seems like one of the 3 is dead. Dead people. Fei Tianyang, did your Master of Energy offend someone recently? Why would someone break into the divine martial hall at a time like this? Zhang Bu looked at Fei Tianyang and asked. Zhang Bu, Fei Tianyang said, the way I see it, it must be your sword sect who caused some trouble. Look at you. It's just a few troublemakers. If you don't dare to do anything about it, then we Masters of Energy will. After all, we're the victors of this martial arts competition. With that, Fei Tianyang strode out of the hall. Sect Lord, Yin Ting said softly. Those people said they wanted to borrow the rest returning platform from Shushan. I've never even heard of it. Are they really here to cause trouble? Rest returning platform? I'll go and take a look. Yin Ting, go and call a few elders over. I'm afraid the people who came this time are not friendly. Zhang Bujing said as he walked towards the easternmost part of the divine martial palace. Done. Guopai put away the jade cores, then drew a few paper talismans and stuck them to the bottom of the platform. The platform that Kong Fei was lying on rotated 3 times, causing all of the power in the divine martial hall to converge on it. It was at this point that Guopai caught sight of a group of relatively strong people heading in their direction. Big bro bad guy, you said softly. There are a lot of people here. 4 of them are in the fasting stage, and the rest are in the enlightening stage. If we fought them like normal, we wouldn't be able to beat them. Without any golden core experts, Yuer wasn't too worried. Just give them a few things, Yang Qi said with a smile. I'll give them some face. Guopai was on good terms with Master Limitless. Although he had been banished to the lower world, he wouldn't go so far as to bully people from Shushan. Master Limitless? It's that guy who cultivates both sword and chi. No wonder when I first arrived at the Divine Martial Palace, the statue looked familiar. Yuer said with a smile. Although she didn't have much interaction with this limitless true lord, she had heard of him. I wonder why the two of you trespassed into my divine martial hall. Zhang Bujing looked at Guopai and and asked loudly. A powerful pressure fell on them. Let's talk nicely. You can't force us to explain. Let's fight, Guopai said with a smile. Zhang Bujing was stunned. His pressure just now wasn't weak. Most enlightening stage experts wouldn't be able to withstand it. He didn't expect this kid in the middle enlightening stage to be able to laugh. What surprised him even more was that the girl beside this kid didn't seem to be affected by his pressure at all. What's there to explain? The Divine Martial Hall is a forbidden area of Shushan. Without the permission of Shushan's sect, anyone who trespasses into the Divine Martial Hall will be sentenced to death. Fei Tianyang said bluntly. Aren't you curious about how we got into the Divine Martial Hall? Guopai said with a smile. We're all descendants of old friends. We're just borrowing the rest returning platform. Moreover, the array to activate the rest returning platform was set up by this young master himself. We're not taking advantage of Shushan. Impudent. I don't care how you trespassed into the Divine Martial Hall. You've injured my Shushan people. Don't even think about leaving the Divine Martial Hall today. Fei Tianyang said loudly. If I'm not wrong, Shushan's martial arts competition will be held soon. I think that before the competition ends, this senior can't represent Shushan. Judging from your aura, you're at most the sect master of Shushan's Qi School. Guopai narrowed his eyes at Fei Tianyang. The key to the Qi School's secret technique is to cultivate Qi. Senior, if you're so angry every day, I'm afraid you won't be able to break through the neediest stage in your lifetime. It's really a tragedy for Shushan. You, an enlightening stage brat, dares to teach me a lesson? You're courting death. Fei Tianyang said loudly, preparing to teach Guopai a lesson. Old man, if you can't out-talk me, bad guy, then you're going to beat me up. You're much weaker than your old ancestor, Limitless. Yuer's beautiful eyes stared fiercely at Fei Tianyang as she said loudly. Fei Tianyang immediately withered. It seemed like these two youths had a strong background. Little girl, judging from your appearance, are you from the Jade Lake sect? Zhang Bujing looked at you, and couldn't help but ask. From her appearance to her tone of voice, Zhang Bujing guessed that this girl was from the Jade Lake sect that was recorded in the ancient books of Shushan. Jade Lake sect? Yuer was stunned as she looked at Guopai. The Jade Lake sect was established by the Queen Mother in the mortal realm. Sister Chang, Yi and the Queen Mother are sworn enemies. Although I'm not from Sister Chang, Yi's Dark Knight Army, I'm not from the Jade Lake sect. Guopai said with a smile. Then this lady can't be from the Jade Lake sect. Yuer said loudly. Chapter 264. If you're not from the Jade Lake sect, then who are you? How dare you call our master Wuji by his name? Zhang Bujing squinted his eyes and asked. If I'm not wrong, you should be the Sword sect leader. It's indeed wrong for us to barge into the Divine Martial Hall. How about this? We'll take these pills as an apology to Shu Mountain. When my brother recovers, we'll leave immediately and won't affect the battle between the two sections. In addition, this brother of mine was injured in order to protect your Wuji Peak. Your Shu Mountain should at least say thank you to us, Guo said with a sly smile. Kid, do you think we'll believe you just because you brought out a broken bottle? Do you think we're so easy to fool? Fei Tianyang roared and jumped toward Guopai. If you have the ability, then suppress your strength to the same level as this young master. If I lose, then my brother's injuries will no longer be treated by your Shushan sect. I will immediately scram. Guo Shuai forcefully received Fei Tianyang's punch and roared loudly. Good kid, you're quite strong. You're already in the enlightening stage at such a young age. No wonder you're so arrogant. Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your sect's elders, Fei Tianyang said as he suppressed his strength to the middle enlightening stage and walked towards Guopai step by step. Wuji, I'll teach your Shu Mountain sect on behalf of you this time. If I'm lucky enough to return to the Heaven Realm, I'll get back this favor from you sooner or later, Guopai thought to himself with a smile. Kid, no matter which sect you're from, you'll have to pay the price for barging into Shu Mountain. Fei Tianyang looked at Guopai's indifferent face and became even angrier. Sword sect leader, don't just stand there. Come at me together. It'll save us some trouble later. Guopai looked at Zhang Bujing and said with a smile. This time, even the bad-tempered sword sect leader was angered. Kid, if you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. I won't take advantage of you. I'll suppress my strength to your level. If old Fei can't defeat you, then I'll deal with you, Zhang Bujing said loudly. Zhang Bujing, if I can't beat him, then you definitely can't either. Aren't you shameless? Fei Tianyang said as he strode toward Guopai. Shushan's sect focuses on swords. Draw your swords, Guopai said loudly. A long sword appeared in his hand. It looked ordinary. You're not going to accompany me? Let this old man draw his sword. As Fei Tianyang spoke, he charged towards Guopai. Fei Tianyang was a little surprised. Even though he had suppressed his power to the middle stage of Enlightened Realm, he couldn't gain any advantage over Guopai. The highest level of the Mount Shu sword technique is 10,000 swords return to 1. With your current strength, you can only achieve 100 swords return to 1. Furthermore, you're using the sword technique and chi technique respectively. Even if you can achieve 100 swords return to 1, you can only use 70% of your strength. Let me teach you what 100 swords return to 1 is. Even Zhang Bujing, who was standing not too far away, was unable to make out what was going on. However, Fei Tianyang, who was rushing over, was greatly shocked. What's going on? Zhang Bujing asked as he swung his sword in a seemingly random manner. This is the Shushan sect's master of energy sword technique? I can't believe it can be used like this. Fei Tianyang's eyes went wide as he unsheathed his sword. Moments ago, he had been bragging that he didn't use a sword, but now he had no choice but to do so. Although he felt embarrassed, his life was still more important. Old Fei, Zhang Bujing said, looking at Fei Tianyang. I don't know how much your sword technique has improved over the years, but your ability to brag has definitely improved. You were just bragging a moment ago about not using a sword, and now you're using a sword for a sneak attack. You really are shameless, old man. Trapped in Guopai's sword energy, Fei Tianyang shouted, Come help me, Zhang Bujing. This brat is strange. I'm not a match for him. From now on, you masters of energy shouldn't say you're from the Shushan sect. It's too embarrassing. With that, Zhang Bujing pulled out his sword and charged toward Guopai. Although he looked down on Fei Tianyang, he knew that Fei Tianyang didn't seem to be faking it. Clearly, this brat had some skills. If I had just let you two come at me together, I wouldn't have had to go through all this trouble. Guopai ignored Fei Tianyang and smiled at Zhang Bujing. Shushan sect is all about speed. The swordsmanship of Mount Shu is based on speed. Just like all other martial arts in the world, only speed is unbreakable. Other than Zhang Sanfeng's Taiji sword, the other swordsmanship of Huaxia is all about speed. Originally, the speed of Mount Shu's swordsmanship should be the speed of the swordsmanship, but since your sword chi is separated, you will never be able to reach the peak of speed. Look carefully, I will only give you this one chance. The battle between the two only lasted for an instant. Guopao and Zhang Bujing landed on the ground at the same time. Guopao had a smile on his face while Zhang Bujing was drenched in sweat. Others might not be able to tell, but Zhang Bujing sensed it. The moment the two of them came into contact, Guopao's long sword had carefully poked his body 18 times and made 18 thin cuts. Of course, if one didn't look carefully, one wouldn't be able to see that his Taoist robe was made of good material and had many small holes and cracks. That said, Zhang Bujing had benefited greatly from this exchange. If he could fully comprehend the meaning behind Guopai's sword attack, his sword technique would improve by at least 30%. Thank you, little you. Thank you. Zhang Bujing turned around and looked at the smiling Guopao. He opened his mouth and said these words. Although his voice was very soft, the surrounding Shu Mountain elders heard it clearly. At this time, Fei Tianyang had also escaped from Guopao's sword chi formation. He was in a much more sorry state than Zhang Bujing. There were 2 bloody scars on his face caused by the sword chi. But now, he didn't have any temper. If he hadn't used the strength of the fasting realm, it was very likely that he would have been seriously injured by the sword chi formation. The sword chi formation just now had greatly improved his understanding of the chi formation. Lil Yu, thank you. Old Fei apologizes for offending you just now. Fei Tianyang was more direct than Guopai. The strong were respected. He couldn't defeat Guopai in the same realm. Moreover, he was shocked by the strength that Guopai had displayed. There's no need for thanks. Take these medicinal pills. Once my brother recovers, we'll leave. Guopai smiled and tossed a jade bottle over to Fei Tianyang. As for how he and Zhang Bujing would split the pills, Guopai didn't care. Fei Tianyang accepted the jade bottle gratefully, and Zhang Bujing hurried over. Yura couldn't help but laugh when she saw the expressions on the two old men's faces. Old Fei, Zhang Bujing said, this is for the Shushan sect, not for you masters of energy. You can't take it all for yourself. I'm not like you, Zhang Bujing, Fei Tianyang said, looking at Zhang Bujing with disdain. You sword cultivators don't understand the mysteries of medicinal pills. Back when the sword sect and the master of energy had been separated, the art of pill concocting had been passed down to the master of energy. Cough, cough. So what if I don't know? I can ask if I don't know. Zhang Bujing said indignantly. Little friend, may I know what effect this pill has? Not much, Guopai said with a smile. It'll save you a lot of trouble when you're in the late Xiantian level and enter the enlightened level. You two could try one. Although it won't have much of an effect on the Anidia level, it'll still be useful. Old Phil, quickly give me one. I want to test its efficacy. Zhang Bujing said loudly. Fei Tianyang took out 2 pills and gave one to Zhang Bujing. The two of them swallowed them at the same time. Sect Lord, are you all right? Soon, the expressions on their faces changed, and the elders couldn't help but ask. Zhang Bujing and Fei Tianyang exchanged a glance and said, the reward for the dual-sex combat competition are going to be changed. Chapter 265. Pass down my orders, Zhang Bujing said loudly. All disciples of the Mount Shu sword sect are not to approach the resting platform. Those who violate the rules will be punished. Fei Tianyang did the same to the disciples of the Mount Shu sword sect. Guopai nodded at the two of them. The sect leaders of the Mount Shu sword sect were not bad. At the very least, they had good eyesight. However, the elders of the Mount Shu sword sect did not know why the two sect leaders had changed so drastically. Kong Fei stayed on the resting platform until 12 o'clock in the evening, when a strong aura appeared on the resting platform. Kong Fei slowly stood up. This time, he had used the secret magic of the Grand Magus, which had caused great harm to his body. However, with Guopao's help, not only had his body recovered, his strength had also improved qualitatively. He was now only 1 step away from the fasting stage. Boss I'm not dead. I'm not dead. Kong Fei looked at Guopai excitedly. Of course, he could feel the changes in his body, but he could not believe it. Kong Fei, I've made you suffer this time. Try not to use the secret technique I taught you as much as possible. Although it was a blessing in disguise and your strength increased a lot, I can't guarantee that you won't have such an opportunity next time. Guopao said with a smile. This time in Shushan, Guopao happened to find a resting platform in Shushan, which allowed Kong Fei to recover so quickly. If it was somewhere else, he would not be so lucky. As Kong Fei woke up, Zhang Bujing and Fei Tianyang appeared below the resting platform. They had not rested and had been waiting for Kong Fei to wake up. Kong Fei, let's go down together. I'll take you to meet the 2 sect leaders of the most powerful sect in Huaxia, Wu Xiu's Mount Shu sword sect. Guopai said with a smile. Zhang Bujing and Fei Tianyang's faces turned red. They could not afford to be called the most powerful sect in Huaxia. The scene of them being defeated by Guopai in the morning was still fresh in their minds. Little Yu has said it. Let's get to know each other again. I am Zhang Bujing of the Mount Shu sword sect. How should I address you, Little Yu? What sect are you from? Who is your master? Zhang Bujing asked with a smile. My name is Gua Scoundrel. I'm a disciple of the heavenly Dao sect. My master is a loose cultivator from the EC. My name is not worth mentioning, Gua Scoundrel said with a smile. So you are a disciple of the Tian Dao sect. No wonder you are so amazing. Sorry for the disrespect. Fei Tianyang said with a smile. Guopai's eyes widened. Big Bro had just casually mentioned Tian Dao sect, What the hell were you being disrespectful for? However, Guopai continued to smile at Fei Tianyang. Guopai, little you, I have asked the kitchen to prepare some food. Hong Fei, little you have just recovered. Why don't you go and eat something first? Zhang Bujing said with a smile. Guopai nodded his head lightly and woke up Yuer, who was still meditating. He brought Kong Fei and followed the two sect leaders to the dining hall of the Divine Martial Hall. Little you, please come in. Let me introduce you. These are the elders of Mount Shu, Fei Tianyang said with a smile. Fei Tianyang said with a smile. Several elders stood up one after another. The pills that Guopao had given to Shu Shan had already been verified. The elders began to have differing opinions. There were even some who suggested killing Guopao for the pills. However, when they thought about the strength that Guopao had displayed, the entire Shushan Mountain decided to maintain a good relationship with him. Everyone must be very surprised that I was able to break the array outside your divine martial hall, right? Guopai did not eat anything. He looked at the elders and said with a smile, back then, our Tiandao sect's mind-reading old ancestor had a good relationship with your Mount Shu Wuji. The divine martial hall is no secret to our Tiandao sect. So you are the descendant of an old friend. No wonder you know so much about our Mount Shu and are so strong. The elders nodded their heads. Wu Xiao, who had an inheritance, was respected by all the Wu Xiao in Huaxi. Little you eat something first. Let's talk while we eat, Zhang Bujing said with a smile. Guopai did not stand on ceremony. The food that Mount Shu made was not bad. At least it was wild meat. Seeing Guopai like this, Kong Fei also ate without holding back. After such a long time, he was really hungry. Guopai, little you, I wonder if the pills you gave us are from your sect's inheritance. Or is there a pharmacist in Tiandao sect who can refine them? Fei Tianyang asked softly. Although this kind of question was usually not easy to ask, for the future development of Mount Shu, Fei Tianyang put down his face. Old Mr. Fei, Mount Shu is considered a big sect in Huaxia. Does Mount Shu have a pharmacist who can refine such pills? Guopai did not answer directly. Instead, he asked with a smile. There are a few pharmacists in Mount Shu. However, the quality of the pills that they refine cannot be compared to the pills that Lil Yu gave us. Fei Tianyang answered honestly. I wonder if you can take me to see the place where Mount Shu pharmacists refine pills? Guopai asked with a smile. When Master Wuji flew to the heavenly realm, he did not take many things with him. Perhaps this time, he could get some good things from Mount Shu. Well, little you have to wait for a while. If you want to go to our Mount Shu Medicinal Tower, we have to inform the seniors of the Medicinal Tower. Zhang Bujing said with a hint of helplessness. Kid, you can wait for a while. However, it can't be too long. You can let the elders of the Medicinal Tower take a look at these pills. Guopai said as he handed 3 pills of different colors to Zhang Bujing. Zhang Bujing took the pills and handed them to an elder. That elder hurriedly walked out of the restaurant. Guopai believed that no one in the world could refine such pills except for him. About half an hour later, a white-haired old man rushed into the restaurant. He had a medicinal fragrance all over his body and a look of excitement on his face. After entering, he looked at Zhang Bujing and asked loudly, Where is he? Who gave you the pills just now? Little Jingjing, tell me. Cough, cough, cough. Big grandfather, can you not call me Little Jingjing? Zhang Bujing said with a flushed face. This person was the elder brother of Zhang Bujing's grandfather. He was the #1 pharmacist in Mount Shu Medicinal Tower, Medicine Maniac Zhang, who had watched Zhang Bujing grow up. I'm here. Where is he? Where is he? Little Yang Yang, what are you laughing at? Do you know where he went? Medicine Maniac Zhang looked at Fei Tianyang and asked loudly. Cough, cough. Grandpa Chi, the pills were provided by this little you from the Heavenly Tao sect. He is the descendant of a friend of our Mount Shu sect's founding ancestor. Fei Tianyang was afraid that Medicine Maniac Zhang would call him Little Yang Yang again. I don't care about the Heavenly Tao sect. I can roughly feel the ingredients of this pill. The quality of the ingredients is not high. It was not passed down from 10,000 years ago. It was refined recently. Little fellow, who refined this pill? Tell me, and I will agree to anything you want. Medicine maniac Zhang said excitedly. Senior, don't be so excited. Isn't it just a few pills? This kind of pill doesn't even need to be refined by our heavenly Tao sect seniors. I can make it myself, Guopai said with a smile. The entire Mount Shu sect's people in the restaurant opened their eyes wide. Hee hee, little fellow, aren't you afraid of biting your tongue when you talk big? If you can refine such a pill, this old man is willing to worship you as his master. Medicine maniac Zhang said loudly. Medicine maniac Zhang's words caused the entire restaurant to suddenly quiet down. Senior, I think it's better to forget about it. Our heavenly Tao sect doesn't casually accept people. Since my brother's injuries have recovered, I won't disturb Mount Shu sect. The martial arts competition between the two sects is about to begin. Mount Shu sect shouldn't have time to deal with this little fellow. Guopai pulled you and prepared to leave. You can't leave. If you want to leave Mount Shu sect, you have to win against me. Medicine maniac Zhang suddenly stopped Guopai and said loudly, If you win against me, this old man will agree to anything you want. Chapter 266. Senior, I don't think Shu Mountain used to keep people like this, Guopai said to medicine addict Zhang with a smile. I don't care. Anyway, you can't leave, medicine addict Zhang said loudly and blocked Guopai's path. Bad guy big brother, we have to hurry back to the imperial capital. Hurry up and win against this crazy old man so that we can leave safely, Yu said with a smile. The people of Shu Mountain widened their eyes. Grandpa, you can take care of the medical tower. Little Yu is a disciple of Tiandao sect. You can't make things difficult for him. Zhang Bujing couldn't help but say. Get lost. What do you know? Do you know the value of the elixir you asked people to send to the medical tower? Get lost. He must go to the medical tower with me. If he wins, I won't stop him, medicine addict Zhang said loudly. Little Yu, why don't you go to the medical tower with my grandpa? You can rest assured that no matter if you win or lose, I will find a way to let you leave Shu Mountain, Zhang Bujing whispered to Guopai as he pulled him to the side. Sect Master Zhang, you just have to promise that your grandpa won't make things difficult for me if I win. Guopai stood in front of medicine addict Zhang with a smile. Senior, if I can refine the elixir that they give you, will I win this competition? That's right. As long as you can refine such elixir, this old man will admit defeat, medicine addict Zhang said loudly. Medicine addict Zhang loudly said. Although medicine addict Zhang wasn't able to refine those 3 different colored pills, he could still feel the mysterious support of the pills. Looking at Guopao, it was impossible for him to have such ability at his age. Shu Mountain Medical Tower wasn't in the Divine Martial Hall. Guopai knew the location of the medical tower back then. He didn't care about medicine addict Zhang and walked straight to the medical tower. You guys actually told an outsider about the medical tower. What benefits did you receive from him? Medicine addict Zhang shouted to Zhang Bujing and Fei Tianyang. Then, he hurriedly caught up with Guopai. We didn't say anything. Guopai is a disciple of the Tiandao sect and has some connections with our Shushan sect. It's not unreasonable for him to know about the medical tower, Zhang Bujing said loudly and followed them to the medical tower. It seems that these arrays created by Master Wuji back then are really useful. After so many years, they can still be used for teleportation. Guopao looked at the array that connected the Divine Martial Hall to the Medicine Tower and couldn't help but think to himself, Brat, so what if you know the location of the medical tower? Do you have the ability to break the formation and go to the medical tower? Medicine addict Zhang said with a hint of ridicule. Old man, take a good look. Do you think this formation can stump yours truly? I really don't know what you're thinking. Guopao didn't call him senior anymore. As he spoke, he walked to the front of an open space and performed the 7-star steps. A moment later, a door appeared in mid-air, as if by magic. Guopao directly jumped in. Brat, how do you know so many secrets of Shushan? Who are you? I've never heard of the Tiandao sect, medicine addict Zhang said loudly and jumped in. Froda, if I knew it was so overbearing, I would have left it to my descendants. Sigh. Exchanging a Froda for the Shushan God-slaying sword manual is really not worth it, Guopai couldn't help but think to himself. Brat, come in. Medicine addict Zhang looked at Guopai, who was deep in thought, and said with a hint of pride, "This medical tower was the most awesome thing in Huaxia and Wuxia world. The medical tower was even more powerful than the divine martial hall. This was the pride of Shushan's sect. Damn, it's really a big sect." After Guopao entered, a medicinal fragrance assaulted his nostrils. Following that, Guopao looked at the rows of neatly arranged medicine cabinets. Guopao's eyes widened. He knew that Shushan had a deep foundation, but he didn't expect that the inheritance over the past 1,000 years would be so profound. Damn, these herbs are so much better than the Ghost Doctor sect's medicine room. Damn, it's a waste to give these herbs to Shushan's sect. They don't even have true samadhi fire. It's a waste to use these herbs. I'm lay foam. I'm a living lay foam. These things won't be wasted if I take them away. Guopai shouted excitedly in his heart. Brat, our Shushan medical tower is not bad, medicine addict Zhang said proudly. There are a lot of things, but it's really a waste to give them to you alchemists. Guopai didn't look at medicine addict Zhang. His eyes fell on a simple medicine cabinet in the depths of the medical tower. The things inside should be the only things on Earth. Guopai really couldn't help it. Even when he was in the Tang dynasty, he didn't see so many good things. The herbs inside were considered top-grade herbs, even in the heavenly court. Brat, if you can win against me in alchemy, I'll let you choose 10 herbs from this medical tower. This old man will also worship you as his master. How about it? Medicine addict Zhang didn't get angry and said loudly, What if I lose? Guopai asked with a smile. Lose? If you lose, then you have to take me to your Tiandao sect to meet the seniors of your Tiandao sect. Then you can give me 10 of those elixirs you gave me just now. Even 5 is fine, medicine addict Zhang said with a smile. Senior, I accept this bet. If none of your Shushan alchemists can win against this brat, then according to what you said, I'll choose 10 herbs from this medical tower. As a reward, I'll also give you 10 of each 3-color elixir, Guopai said with a smile. If you can win against this brat, I'll give the prescription of the 3-colored elixir to your Shushan sect. As for meeting the seniors of my Tiandao sect, I'm sorry. My masters in Tiandao sect are all in closed-door cultivation. You won't be able to meet them. Of course, it's basically impossible for you to win against me. Haha, Guopai said with a laugh. Haha, brat, I appreciate you more and more now. In that case, wait a moment. I'll call all the alchemists of the medical tower over. Medicine addict Zhang said with a smile. Zhang Bujing asked someone to call the other alchemists of the medical tower. What? Someone came to the medical tower to cause trouble? We'll go immediately. They really don't know what's good for them. Which sect are they from? A few people who were drinking on the top floor of the medical tower heard someone's report and directly ran to the cauldron level of the medical tower. Medicine addict Zhang, who wants to challenge our medical tower. Since you're here, we won't join in the fun. Hurry up and deal with them. Let's go drink. Chung Daquin, the alchemist in the medical tower who was second only to medicine addict Zhang, said with a smile. Daquin, this little Yu is a disciple of the Tiandao sect. He has some connections with our Shushan sect. You should know that I got a few peerless great elixirs from this little Yu. Today's alchemy competition is between our medical tower and this little Yu. Medicine addict Zhang said with a smile. Old Zhang, when did you have the habit of bullying children? I'm not participating. How old is he? It's not glorious even if he wins. Another old man from the medical tower said with a smile. You're all quite good at talking. Then do you dare to bet? If Brother Bad Guy wins all of you, we can choose anything from this medical tower. You looked at the group of arrogant alchemists from Shushan's sect and asked loudly, If this kid can win against our Shushan sect, the entire medical tower won't be a problem for you. Chung Daquin said loudly. Zhang Bujing and Fei Tianyang couldn't stop him and could only shake their heads helplessly. Although they didn't know how good Guopai's alchemy skills were, they could feel that this youth was definitely not ordinary from the beginning of the fight with Guopai. If he really won by chance, they would lose face. Haha, since Shushan's sect wants to give this medical tower to us, then we won't be polite. Guopai said with a smile. Let's begin. Everyone's time is very precious. 9 dragons, heavenly king cauldron, take out. Medicine addict Zhang couldn't help but shake his head when he heard Chung Dakuan say that he would use the medical tower as a bet. However, since he had agreed, he would go all out. He really didn't believe that Guopai could beat him in alchemy. Chapter 267. With the shout of medicine addict Zhang, a medicinal cauldron with a diameter of about 1 meter appeared in front of them. 9 lifelike dragon-shaped carvings were carved on the cauldron, making the people in the medical tower feel a trace of pressure. It's really a good thing. That old man Wuji really has some stock. Guopai couldn't help but secretly say in his heart. It was no wonder. When he ascended to the heavenly realm, all his magic treasures were destroyed when he resisted the 9 wrath heavenly thunder. He didn't leave many things for his people, but Wuji was different. When the 6 wrath heavenly thunder fell, he knew that he had no problem resisting the heavenly thunder. He left everything he could to his disciples, which also led to a grand event in Shushan. Boy, how is my medicinal cauldron? Medicine addict Zhang asked with a smile as he saw Guopai staring at the medicinal cauldron. The medicinal cauldron is not bad, but you can't exert its full strength. Guopai said with a smile. Refine the medicine. You will know what I mean in a while. I can't exert the full strength of the medicinal cauldron, but you can? Medicine addict Zhang thought to himself in a bad mood. If the seniors of your Tiandao sect said such words, this old man would have listened. You're just a little guy. What are you pretending for? Medicine addict Zhang didn't say much. He took the herbs he needed to refine the medicine from the medicine cabinet of the medical tower one by one. Guopai nodded gently. This old man seemed to have some ability. Guopai could almost determine what the medicine he wanted to refine was. It should be a small ancient recipe left behind by Wuji. Senior, if you want to refine medicine, you can't do it without fire. I remember that in the ancient records of our Tiandao sect, Wuji caught 2 fire mythological beasts. I don't know if these fire mythological beasts are still alive. Guopai said with a smile. From the moment he entered the medical tower, he felt the aura of the 2 fire mythological beasts. When Wuji caught the fire mythological beasts, he showed them off in front of Chun Xingyuan for a long time. Only when Chun Xingyuan obtained the Phoenix Soaring Fire did he stop showing off. Of course, Chun Xingyuan used the Samadhi True Fire from the Heavenly Lord to ascend to the heavenly realm. You even know about the fire mythological beasts? Who are you? Medicine addict Zhang's eyes widened. Not to mention outsiders. Even many Shushan disciples didn't know about the existence of the fire mythological beast. This Guopai actually said it out loud. How could he not be surprised? Guopai didn't explain much. This medicine tower was the Froda that he had given to Wuji back then. He knew very well where the fire mythical beast was now. The only thing he was thinking about now was whether the fire mythical beast would recognize him. Some strange beasts had much stronger senses than humans. Fire god beast, please. Zhang Yao Qi looked at the sky above the medicine tower and shouted. From his voice, one could tell that Zhang Yao Qi was absolutely devoted to the 2 fire god beasts. Along with medicine maniac Zhang's shout, everyone in the medicine tower, except for Guopai and Yu, slowly closed their eyes and quietly waited for the fire god beast to appear. Big brother bad guy. This aura seems to be the aura of the heavenly quartz Lihua beast. Could it be that this fire god beast is the descendant of the Lihua beast? You were asked softly. Guopai was stunned at first, then he nodded with joy. How could he not think of it? The aura of this fire god beast was indeed related to the Lihua beast. Back then, he had a good relationship with the Lihua beast of Taishang Laojun. Maybe he could trick a fire god beast into working for him. Compared to using the true Samadhi fire, it was too strenuous. A moment later, the temperature of the medicine tower suddenly soared. 2 handsome beasts about the size of a lion with red bodies appeared in front of them. Medicine addict Zhang bowed deeply to them. The fire god beast nodded slightly. Then their eyes fell on you. Big guy, what are you looking at? Yu was not afraid of the 2 big guys at all and said with a smile. 2 little guys, if you keep looking at my wife like this young master will get angry. Guopai looked at the 2 fire god beasts and said with a smile. At this time, the two fire god beasts were stunned at first. Then they stared at Guopai. "This is our fire god beast of Shu Mountain. Don't be rude." Several pharmacists of the medicine tower said loudly, "Li Hua Qinkuan, Zizai Xiaoyao, you just have some bloodline. Don't scare people." Guopai said with a smile. The two fire god beasts' aura suddenly weakened. "Hurry up and refine the medicine. We still have to go back to the imperial capital." Yu pulled Guopai and said, "Big brother bad guy, are you going to take advantage of these two guys?" "Hee hee, big wife. Don't you think it's interesting to get a big guy back to the medical tower?" Guopai said with a smile. The two fire god beasts stepped forward and made an intimate gesture to Guopai, which made the people of Shu Mountain widen their eyes. "Senior, let's refine the medicine." Medicine addict Zhang nodded gently. The two fire god beasts stood on both sides of the 9 dragons' heavenly king cauldron. Then, the two fire god beasts opened their mouths, and 2 hot auras firmly surrounded the medicinal cauldron. Medicine addict Zhang was not idle. He quickly threw the medicinal herbs in his hand into the medicinal cauldron. These two big guys are not the two caught by Wuji. They should be the descendants of those two fire god beasts. Otherwise, it's impossible for them not to recognize me. Guopai said softly. Yu nodded with a smile. But they still inherited the bloodline of their father or grandfather. They can more or less feel my existence. Guopai said with a smile. I'll make some delicious food for them in a while. These two little guys are also sullen, staying in this medical tower. Follow this young master out for a stroll. Medicine addict Zhang really had put in a lot of effort in concocting medicine. After about the time it takes an incense stick to burn, a medicinal aroma wafted out from the medicinal cauldron. Guopai walked over to the medicinal cauldron, where the embryos had already formed. If he could successfully form the pills, they would be of decent quality. At the very least, they would be considered good things in the mortal world. The two fire god beasts smelled the medicinal aroma coming from the medicinal cauldron. They had worked together with medicine addict Zhang for many years, and the temperature of the cauldron rose a bit. The 3 embryos began to rotate rapidly, and the originally rough surface of the cauldron became smooth. Medicine addict Zhang roared, then leaped up and opened the cauldron lid. He quickly reached into the cauldron with one hand, then landed firmly on the ground. At the same time, the two fire god beasts sucked the flames into their mouths. Big Grandpa, your alchemy skills have become even more amazing. Why don't you give the finished pills to our sword school? Zhang Bujing said with a smile. He didn't dare to keep the medicinal pills that Guopai had given him, but he did dare to shamelessly ask for the pills concocted by his big grandpa. Grandpa Zhang, Fei Tianyang hastily said, you should give them to our masters of energy. Masters of energy focus on energy cultivation, and with the help of medicinal pills, they'll be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. Ignoring the 2 sect masters, medicine addict Zhang smiled at Guopai and said, Little you, my alchemy skills are passable, right? This should be called a qi channeling pill. The quality is pretty good, and the appearance is passable. Guopai looked at the pill in medicine addict Zhang's hand and smiled. But if we're talking about seniors' alchemy skills, then forgive me for being blunt, but they're just so. Guopai's words were like a drop of water in a pot of boiling oil. The alchemists in the medicine tower all stared with wide eyes, and some of them even looked at Guopai with displeasure, preparing to attack him. In truth, ever since they had heard that Guopai wanted to compete with the alchemists from the medicine tower, they had been very displeased with him. Little you, sometimes you shouldn't be so full of yourself. If you can't take back your words, then you'll look bad. Medicine maniac Zhang was truly angry this time. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Guopao. This old man will say the same thing. If you can beat this old man, then this old man will take you as his master. But if you lose, then you'll have to take this old man to see the elders of your heavenly path sect. A few qi channeling pills? They're far inferior to a meridian opening pill. They're just so. You are added in an infuriating tone. Chapter 268. Guopai said with a smile, Senior, now, I'll give Shushan 2 choices. I have a medicinal cauldron and medicinal herbs. I can use my own things to refine the three-color elixir for you, but that's too unskilled. I suddenly thought of an interesting elixir recipe. I see that there are all the medicinal herbs in this medicinal tower. With your 9 dragons, heavenly king cauldron, I'm 80% sure that I can refine an interesting elixir. I don't know if you can let me try. The quality of the elixir refined will be higher than the three-color elixirs. Medicine addict Zhang asked with wide eyes. The three-color elixir is just for fun. With this 9 dragons heavenly king cauldron, the quality of the elixir will be at least 3 times better than the three-colored elixir. Guopai said softly. Everyone in the medicinal tower widened their eyes. Although some of them had not seen the three-colored elixir mentioned by Guopai, they knew that the three-colored elixirs were enough to surprise medicine addict Zhang, the number 1 person in the medicinal tower, from the way he ran out in a hurry. If the elixir Guopai was going to refine was several times better than the three-colored elixir, they were afraid that there was no such elixir in the entire Huaxia. Senior, of course, I won't use your things for free. If I succeed, we'll split the elixir in the cauldron. If I fail, I still have 18 three-colored elixirs. 6 of each kind will be given to Shushan as compensation. Guopai looked at medicine addict Zhang and the others hesitantly and said with a smile, "We can let you use the 9 dragons heavenly king cauldron, and we can also provide the medicinal herbs. But according to what you said, the medicinal herbs must be of the highest quality. I can only provide you with 3 sets of medicinal herbs at most. If you fail, then there's no other way." Medicine addict Zhang discussed with several people for a while and said softly. Guopai nodded with a smirk on his face. He was no longer polite to the people of Shushan. He went straight to the medicine cabinet and quickly took out the medicinal herbs he needed. The pharmacists of Shushan Medical Tower widened their eyes. Guopai took out so many types of medicinal herbs this time, which surprised them. Old Zhang, what kind of pill is this kid trying to refine? Does he even know how to refine it? From what I remember, there aren't many pills with so many medicinal ingredients in the pill recipes passed down in Shu Mountain. Chang Dakuan whispered to medicine addict Zhang. You 2 little fellows, stand to the side. You don't have enough firepower for yours truly to refine medicine. Guopai took the herbs, walked to the side of the cauldron, and said to the 2 fire mythological beasts with a smile. The 2 fire mythological beasts tilted their heads as if they understood Guopai's meaning. They obediently laid down on the side. Guopai arranged the herbs one by one, and then sat down cross-legged for about half an incense stick's worth of time. In the beginning, the alchemists of the medicine tower were still discussing spiritedly, but Zhang Yao and Cheng Dakuan seemed to have noticed something, and their expressions became serious. Now is the time. The spiritual power on earth is very thin now. We can only rely on time to make up for it. Guopai stood up abruptly, picked up the cauldron with both hands, and threw it into the air. The cauldron stopped steadily in the air. Then, he opened the cauldron and poured the herbs into it. Then, a flame was released from the Laojuan's gourd that Guopai carried and directly surrounded the cauldron. The moment the flame emerged, everyone in the medicine tower, except for you, widened their eyes. The heat emitted by the flame made them feel fear in their hearts. The 2 fire mythological beasts stared at the flame surrounding the 9 dragons heavenly king cauldron. They were originally a little lazy, but they suddenly became nervous. One of the smaller fire mythological beasts couldn't help but take a few steps back. Guopai naturally didn't notice this because he was wholeheartedly immersed in refining medicine. Old Zhang, where did this kid come from? How much do you know about the Tiandao sect? Cheng Dakuan couldn't help but ask when he saw Guopai stop in the air. The hot flame surrounded the cauldron, and a medicinal fragrance wafted out from the cauldron. I know about the same as you. I only know that he is a disciple of the Tiandao sect. I didn't expect him to be so good at refining medicine. Medicine addict Zhang couldn't help but say, if Guopai could refine the pill, they would definitely lose this time. Guopai continued refining medicine for more than an hour. Yuer found a secluded place to sit down. Everyone else was standing. Their eyes were unwilling to leave Guopai. Beautiful sister, big brother is really amazing. After such a long time, he is still refining medicine. What kind of medicine is he going to refine? A little medicine boy from the Shushan Medical Tower walked to the front of Yu and whispered. He came here later. After watching for more than 20 minutes, he felt that it was boring. He carefully walked to the side of Yu. Little guy, you're also from Shushan, right? You will know in a while. In the future, this medical tower will be ours. You can't stay inside. Yu looked at the little boy in front of her and said with a smile, Big brother is really amazing. Master can't hold on for more than 20 minutes every time he refines medicine. The little boy whispered. Guopai's strength had completely conquered the little guy in front of him. Yu didn't say much. Who was Guopai? He was the mind-reading sage. In the past, he had a good relationship with Taishang Laojun in the Heavenly Court. He had stayed with Laojun for a long time. In terms of alchemy, there were not many people in the Heavenly Court who could compare with a mind-reading sage, let alone these sections. In this Buddha tower, there shouldn't be any lightning, right? After more than half an hour, the pill embryo in the medicine cauldron began to spin rapidly. Guopai couldn't help but think. Although the pills this time were not heaven-defying, they had already exceeded the limits of the rules in the mortal world. Guopai's guess was right. The Buddha tower was indeed a treasure. When the pills were formed, they had indeed deceived the heavens, and there was no lightning. However, when he left the Buddha tower, he found out. The few people on the Wuji Peak of Shushan were scared out of their wits. The 6 Wrath heavenly thunder hovered above the Wuji Peak for a long time. There was no lightning, and it didn't leave either. This made Taoist Bu and the others break out in cold sweat. Of course, the changes in Shushan also made the experts in Huaxia, who were in seclusion, think about it. Pills formed. Guopai roared. The flame returned to the gourd again. The medicine cauldron slowly descended. Guopai suddenly opened the lid of the medicine cauldron. The 4 pills were suspended in the medicine cauldron. The moment the lid of the medicine cauldron was opened, they seemed to want to rush out. Behave yourself. Guopai had consumed a lot of energy in refining the pills this time. The moment he withdrew the true samadhi fire, Guopai's face turned pale. However, he couldn't care less at this time. He reached out and grabbed the 4 pills tightly in his hand. The moment the pills were formed, the 2 fire mythological beasts stood up suddenly and looked at the medicine cauldron with excitement. However, the moment Guopai put away the pills, the 2 big guys withered again. They looked at the gourd on Guopai's waist and couldn't help but let out a helpless sound. The pills are formed. What's the quality? What kind of pills are they? The people from the medical tower couldn't help but ask when they saw the medicine cauldron fall. Spirit communication pill. The quality can no longer be measured by the current quality of pills. As for its effect, it doesn't have much effect on humans. It can only let a late-stage Xiantian expert enter the enlightening stage directly. Guopai said with a smile. However, it's very useful for them. 2 little guys, do you want to eat it? Huh. You just said that this pill can let a late-stage Xiantian expert enter the enlightening stage? That's impossible. How can there be such a pill? Medicine addict Zhang shook his head in disbelief. We agreed at the beginning that I'll give you half. These 2 pills belong to your Shu Mountain sect. As for whether it has the effect I said, you can find someone to try it. Guopai said with a smile. However, his eyes fell on the little guy who was chatting with Yu. F***CK. Wuji actually left his inheritance to this little kid. Wuji owes me a lot. Guopai secretly said in his heart. Old senior, you can let that little guy have a taste of the medicinal pellet. According to his appearance, that little guy will definitely be able to unleash the medicinal efficacy of the medicinal pellet to its greatest extent after consuming it. Guopao pointed to the little boy and said, Little Han Wu. Chapter 269. Little you, we will take care of the dawn you gave us. Little Han Marshall is too young. It is not suitable for him to take dawn. Before medicine addict Zhang could say anything, Zhang Bujing hurriedly stood up and said, Yes, little Han Marshall doesn't even have inner strength in his body. I'm afraid it won't work for him to take dawn. Medicine addict Zhang nodded and said. Guopai looked at the little boy with a smile, then slowly walked over and reached out to touch his head. Little guy, do you want to go down a mountain with me? I can teach you how to refine dawn. You also saw that I won against your master. Betraying one's master is the most shameful act in Jianghu. How can I go with you? The little boy said with a serious face with his eyes wide open. Several people laughed. Since you don't want to go with me, then you should stay in Shu Mountain first. Guopai said with a smile, then took out a small jade bottle from his body. There is some dawn in here. Take one a month. I will come back to find you after a year. Yu walked in front of Guopai and pointed to the two fire divine beasts that were still in a state of excitement. Guopai smiled and nodded, then walked straight to them. Here are 2 dawn. Each of you eat one. Guopai was very generous and directly handed 2 spirit communication dawn to the 2 fire divine beasts. However, the 2 big guys' reaction made Guopai stunned. The 2 big guys actually didn't eat the dawn. Damn, it can't be. The spirit chi in this world is so thin. Could it be that you guys? Guopai suddenly understood what was going on. He stared at the 2 fire divine beasts and helplessly shook his head. The 2 fire divine beasts looked at Guopai with a trace of pleading in their eyes. Guopai gently nodded, and the 2 fire divine beasts obediently lay down in front of him. Guopai put away the 2 spirit communication dawn and walked over to medicine addict Zhang. Senior, let's hurry up and decide the winner of this alchemy competition. I still have other things to do. If it really doesn't work, you can let the 2 sect masters take one each. They might be able to fully utilize the medicinal effect of the dawn. Guopai said with a smile. Medicine addict Zhang looked at Zhang Bujing and Fei Tianyang and nodded lightly. Shu Mountain could be considered to be in a period of time. There were many late-stage Xiantian disciples, but in terms of talent, none of them were worthy. If it wasn't for the sect masters of the Sword Sect and Shu Mountain would have been taken over by some people with their own ideas. Tianyang, Bujing, take this. Let's see how effective little Yu's dawn are. Medicine addict Zhang said, and threw 2 dawn to Zhang Bujing and Fei Tianyang. The 2 sect masters were stunned at first, but they didn't hesitate and directly put the dawn in their mouths. A rich medicinal fragrance spread out in their mouths. The medicinal effect was very gentle, and traces of it seeped into their bodies. They were already in the fasting stage, so naturally they couldn't directly enter the golden core stage. However, the benefits of the dawn were very obvious, and the 2 sect masters' expressions became very rich. There seemed to be a special power emitting from the 2 of them, causing the alchemists of the medical tower to be completely stunned. This state was recorded in the ancient books of Shu Mountain's medicine encyclopedia. Only when the dawn reached a certain level of quality would they be able to exhibit this kind of effect. Old man Fei, let's have a little competition. Haha, I finally broke through the barrier of the fasting stage. Haha, the usually calm sword sect master Zhang Bujing said with a laugh. Old man, you can't be thinking that you're the only one who broke through, right? Let's have a little competition. I also broke through. As Fei Tianyang spoke, the pressure emanating from his entire body was released. Several of the Shushan elders couldn't help but take a few steps back. Medicine addict Zhang's eyes also widened. Although he could sense from the medicinal fragrance that this pill was an extraordinary product, and he had lost the gambling match, he never imagined that this pill would actually allow 2 early-stage fasting masters to directly step into the middle fasting realm. Old senior, how is it? This competition should be able to determine the winner and loser, right? Guopai looked at the shocked medicine addict Zhang and the other alchemists of the medical tower and asked with a smile. I remember that when you took the herbs, you took 36 kinds of herbs. Among them, 18 of them have a 99 effect. How did you do it? Chung Dakuin couldn't help but ask. You're right, but didn't you also say that there are 36 kinds of herbs? In addition to these 18 kinds, there are still 18 kinds of herbs that don't seem to be effective, but when combined together, they will have a different effect. The art of alchemy is broad and profound. In the past, the old lord only came up with a pill formula after hundreds of millions of failures, Guopai said with a smile. Seniors, the bet should be counted. Of course, it's counted. You could take any of the herbs in the medical tower. How much you could take depends on your ability. Some herbs have spirituality, and we haven't been able to take them for alchemy, for so many years. Medicine addict Zhang couldn't help but remind. More than 30 years ago, medicine addict Zhang was preparing to take the herbs in the mysterious medicine cabinet. However, there was a 10,000 years old cold ginseng inside. It directly froze medicine addict Zhang's finger, and he had no choice but to cripple his finger. "Senior, you don't have to worry about it. That kid is going to take the herbs," Guo Pai said. "You two, just wait." "If I want to help you, I have to get some herbs from here," Guo Pai said to the two fire divine beasts with a smile. "Grandpa, are you really going to let him take any herbs?" Zhang Bujing couldn't help but ask. "What else can we do?" De Kuan's last sentence at that time was to lose the entire medical tower to him. Medicine addict Zhang shook his head and said, "Guo Pai, little you isn't simple. Although I don't know what kind of sect this Tiandao sect is, in terms of alchemy, we are right. It's a waste of herbs. It's not just alchemy. Just now in the Divine Martial Palace, he defeated me and Tianyang with sword qi in the same realm." Zhang Bujing said softly. Medicine addict Zhang's eyes widened. How old was this kid? He actually used Shushan's proudest method to defeat the two sect masters with the most potential in Shushan. If word got out, the entire Huaxia would probably be shocked. Guo Pai went straight to the ancient medicine cabinet in the deepest part of the medical tower. The medicine cabinet was made of purple gold sandalwood and had a total of 7 floors. Each floor had 3 kinds of herbs. A medicinal fragrance came from the medicine cabinet. The cold ginseng that medicine addict Zhang mentioned should be you, right? Guo Pai looked at the white ginseng that was about 20 centimeters long in the middle of the 3rd floor and said softly, "It's not easy to cultivate for 10,000 years. Since you have developed spiritual wisdom, follow me." Guo Pai stretched out his right hand as he said that. The 10,000-year-old cold ginseng seemed to understand Guo Pai's words, but it didn't give Guo Pai any face. The originally standing cold ginseng directly lay down. "I gave you a chance, but you didn't take it. Then I won't be polite." With that, Guo Pai reached into the medicine cabinet with lightning speed and grabbed the cold ginseng. A piercing cold qi entered his palm. Then, Guo Pai smiled slightly, and the true samadhi fire came out of the gourd. The 10,000-year-old cold ginseng suddenly lost its temper. "Good stuff, really good stuff." Guo Pai looked at the 10,000-year-old cold ginseng in his hand and couldn't help but sigh. This 10,000-year-old cold ginseng was also a good thing in the heavenly court. Guo Pai looked at the other 20 kinds of herbs, and his palms were slightly sweaty. Guo Pai used different methods to remove the things on the medicine cabinet one by one and couldn't help but curse in his heart. Ice sea frog, purple gold 3 hearts grass, inky fighting orchid, 10,000-year-old jade flower. Damn it, I didn't expect Limitless to have stored so many good things back then and still complain about being poor in the heavenly court every day. In the heavenly court's Limitless dojo, Limitless Sage was originally playing chess with Zhang Sanfeng when he suddenly felt his heart tighten. He knew that something had happened to his biggest concern before he ascended, Mount Shu. This was because someone had touched the things in Flata. Those herbs all had their own taboos. If someone could touch them, then something big was going to happen. However, no matter how he divined, he couldn't figure out what had happened. Since you have so many worries, then why did you ascend back then? With so many worries, you might as well learn from mind-reading sage and peek at a fairy going to the lower realm. Ha ha! Zhang Sanfeng laughed and said. Chapter 270. Let's play chess. This old man is doing well in the heavenly court. What does the matter of the lower realm have to do with me? If the younger generation doesn't work hard, Shushan will be finished. Wuji was stunned and said loudly. Then Zhang Sanfeng laughed. There were 21 kinds of medicinal herbs on the medicine cabinet. Guo Pao spent nearly an hour to store 18 kinds of medicinal herbs into the old lord's gourd. Glancing at the top 3 kinds of medicinal herbs, Guo Pao gritted his teeth and took another step forward. Brother bad guy, wait. In your current state, you can't take the moonlight fruit. You were softly called out to Guo Pai when she touched the crescent-shaped moonlight fruit on Guo Pai's body. So that thing is called the moonlight fruit. When medicine addict Zhang and the others heard Yu Er's voice, they couldn't help but sigh. They had discovered the difference between the herbs on the medicine cabinet and the other cabinets a long time ago. After medicine addict Zhang tried to take the herbs and lost a finger, that medicine cabinet was called a taboo in the medical tower. No pharmacist was allowed to touch it until Guopai came. Of course, they could only find 17 of the 21 herbs on the medicine cabinet from the ancient books of Shushan. This was why these precious herbs were preserved until now. AI, if I can't subdue the moonlight fruit, the other two will be even more difficult. Forget it. I'll wait until I reach the Anidia realm. Guopao shook his head and said. He took a few steps back with a trace of reluctance and arrived in front of another medicine cabinet. A moment later, the 21 compartments on the medicine cabinet had all lost more than half of the medicinal ingredients. Zhang Bujing saw more than a dozen medicine cabinets being looted by Guopai and couldn't help but shout to medicine addict Zhang, "Grandpa, take it." When it comes to refining medicine, all the pharmacists in our medical tower combined are inferior to Guopai and Little Yu. Moreover, I feel that the girl can also refine medicine. Her strength is not below Guopai's. Tianao sect and Huaxia are big, but our Shushan is too arrogant. Medicine addict Zhang shook his head and said, "That's all. The remaining herbs should be enough for your use. Besides, you're guarding Shushan. You can just go down the mountain and pick ordinary herbs." Guopai said to medicine addict Zhang with a smile. "Cough, Little Yu took so many herbs. I'm afraid they won't be used up in a short time." Chung Daquan said with 2 coughs. "This kid has a medical hall in Wu Castle and is about to open a medical hall in the imperial capital. These herbs are used to treat and save people. The merit of treating and saving people will naturally be given to Shushan." Guopai said with a smile. The doctors of Shushan didn't say anything. "By the way, there's one more thing about these herbs. I need to go to the residence of the fire mythological beast." "You guys are really something. Don't you know that the fire mythological beast has given birth?" Guopai looked at medicine addict Zhang and asked, "You, what did you say? The mythological beast of Shushan has given birth? This is impossible." Medicine addict Zhang trembled and said with his eyes wide open, "We know where the fire mythological beast lives, but we won't disturb them if there is nothing important. The situation is not good. The fire mythological beast should have 2 children. The situation of the 2 little guys is not good." Guopai said softly, "I'm going to their residence to take a look. You go to the Divine Martial Palace and wait for me. You guys better not follow me. You should know the temperament of the fire mythological beast better than me." After saying that, Guopai flew onto a fire mythological beast and disappeared from the medicine room of the medical tower. "Grandfather, aren't we going to take a look?" Zhang Bujing couldn't help but ask. "The fire mythological beast didn't even inform us when it gave birth. It seems that it doesn't want us to know. Let's not bother about this matter. It should be fine. You guys take Guopai and Little Yu's girlfriend back to the Divine Martial Palace first. If there is anything, I will let someone inform you." Medicine addict Zhang said thoughtfully. "Also pass down the order. Everything that happened in the medical tower today is the top secret of Shushan. No one is to leak it." Yu smiled and didn't care about the others. The formation of the medical tower was useless to her, and she didn't want to stay here. She walked out directly. The 2 sect masters and a group of elders of Shushan followed her out. Flotta was no stranger to Guopai. The 2 fire mythological beasts had chosen a good place to stay. It was the best place to absorb the heavenly sun energy. When Guopai arrived, he could clearly feel that the surrounding temperature had risen by more than 10 degrees. "No wonder the 2 of you dared to give birth. Did you think that the heavenly sun energy could provide you with sufficient energy? However, you underestimated the backlash of the heavenly sun energy." Guopai said softly as his gaze fell on a corner of the fire mythological beast residence. The 2 of them were blood red and about 30 centimeters in size. However, their auras were weak. When the 2 fire mythological beasts walked in front of them, the 2 little guys moved slowly. One of the little guys even opened his eyes to look at Guopai, who was not far away. With a hint of caution, he took a step toward his mother. This is troublesome. Guopai walked slowly to the two little fire mythological beasts and reached out to touch them. There was no trace of heat on their bodies. Guopai couldn't help but say in his heart, "These fire mythological beasts are considered ancient magical beasts. They shouldn't have appeared in the human world. This is the trouble caused by Wuji." Guopai didn't care if the two big guys could understand him. He whispered, "The two of you have the blood of your ancestors. You should know who I am or where I came from. I will help you. However, whether or not I can save your children will depend on the will of the heavens." The two fire mythological beasts looked at each other and nodded gently. Their gazes fell on the two little guys again. "The medicinal herbs I won from Shushan will most likely be used by you." Guopai pondered for a while, and several plans appeared in his mind. However, no matter how he helped the two little guys, he would have to spend a lot of the things he won from Shushan. However, when he thought about it again, perhaps everything was calculated by Wuji in the past. Guopai took out the medicinal herbs one by one. The two fire mythological beasts stayed at the side obediently. The two little guys looked at Guopai, playing with the medicinal herbs with a strange look. "I have to awaken the power of the blood in your body first. Then, I can talk about how to make you live better." Guopai looked at the two little guys and said softly. Almost an hour later, a pile of medicinal herbs was thrown into the small medicine cauldron that Guopai carried with him. The entire residence of the fire mythological beasts was filled with the fragrance of medicinal herbs. The two little guys stared with their eyes wide open. The medicinal fragrance seemed to have a fatal temptation to them. Woo, woo, woo. The slightly bigger one of the two little guys couldn't help but walk to Guopai's medicine cauldron. It stretched out its small claws and wanted to pull out the medicine cauldron. As a result, Guopai snapped his fingers at its head. "Be honest. I am refining medicine for you. What's the hurry?" Guopai stared at the little fire mythological beast and said. After almost an hour, Guopai withdrew the samadhi true fire under the medicine cauldron. Then, he gently opened the medicine cauldron. Two medicinal pills appeared at the bottom of the medicine cauldron. The rich medicinal fragrance made the two fire mythological beasts stand up involuntarily. "How is it? Yours truly strength is pretty decent, isn't it? In the entire mortal realm, yours truly is the only one who can create pills as such." Guopai's face was pale as a sheet. However, now that he had completed the first step, his mood was pretty good. "Two little guys, whether you can awaken the blood depends on your own luck. I've tried my best." Guopai threw the two medicinal pills to the two little fire mythological beasts. The two little guys pounced on the medicinal pills as if they had found something delicious. A moment later, the two medicinal pills had entered the stomachs of the two fire mythological beasts. Guopai sat cross-legged. Although the power of the sun couldn't be compared with the energy of the moonlight, it was much better than the spiritual energy outside. Just now, the backlash from refining the medicinal pills was not small. Of course, the harvest was not small. Woo, woo, woo. After an unknown amount of time, Guopai was awakened by the moaning of the little fire mythological beast. Guopai was stunned by the scene in front of him. Two fire mythological beasts. One was slightly smaller, and the other was the same as before. There was no change at all. The one who moaned was the smallest fire mythological beast. The blood awakening failed. Chapter 271. Woo, woo, woo. Little guy, come here. Guopai couldn't help but walk over. He didn't wait for the little guy who hadn't awakened his bloodline to come over and directly picked up Little Fire Divine Beast. Little Fire Divine Beast looked at Guopai helplessly. Guopai took out a silver needle from his body and pierced it into the soft flesh of Little Fire Divine Beast's claw. The other three Fire Divine Beasts suddenly looked at Guopai with a trace of vigilance. No wonder his bloodline couldn't be awakened. A drop of blood dripped on the back of Guopai's hand. Guopai only felt the back of his hand heat up. He immediately understood why Little Fire Divine Beast's bloodline couldn't be awakened. If he comes with me, I will find a way to cure him. Otherwise, he will die from the backlash of his bloodline after 10 years. There are only two options. You could decide what to do. Guopai put little fire divine beast on the ground and looked at its parents. The two fire divine beasts were stunned. It was already fortunate that one of their children could recover. However, they were somewhat reluctant to let their child leave with Guopai. The two big guys gently rubbed their heads with little fire divine beast as if they were saying something. Senior, please go back. Our Tiandao sect and Shu Mountain have some connections. If Shu Mountain disciples go down the mountain, you can go to Wu Castle or Bugyaku in the imperial capital to find me. Of course, I will come back to Shu Mountain again if there is a chance. Guopai finished speaking and walked out of the divine martial palace with Yu and Kong Fei. Guopai, Little Yu is not simple. Should we listen to his suggestion? Shu Mountain has been cultivating both sword and qi since ancient times. Why do we have to fight to the death in these two aspects? Zhang Bujing said softly. Don't be surprised. I think we should really summarize the problems of Shu Mountain in these years, Fei Tianyang said softly. Fei Tianyang said softly. His gaze fell on the three fire mythical beasts. The fire mythical beasts rarely left the medical tower. This time, they actually came out to send off Guopai. Moreover, there was an extra one. This made Fei Tianyang feel how powerful Guopai was. Guopai, Little Yu left a couple of pill formulas for Shushan. For the next few months, all of the apothecaries in the medicine pagoda will be in secluded meditation. Considering what happened on the Wuji Peak, it's clear that someone is trying to cause trouble for Shushan. Forget about the duel between the sword and qi masters. Medicine addict Zhang said with a smile. The happiest person these days was none other than the alchemists of the medical tower. The children of the fire mythological beast seemed to have more talent in controlling fire than their parents. Although they were still underage, they had already surpassed their parents in controlling fire. Walking out of the divine martial palace, Guopai and the other two appeared on the Wuji Peak once again. Daoist Bu'er and the others were clearly anxious from waiting. However, they were unable to ascend the divine martial palace. Therefore, they discussed taking turns to guard the palace while the others entered a meditative state to cultivate. Senior brother, you guys are finally back. These days, I've already deduced the array to go to the divine martial palace. If you guys were still not back, we would have gone up. Guotong Yuan immediately felt the change in the array. Then he saw Guopai and the other two walking out of the array. Master, Yin'er was the second to wake up from her meditative state. She looked at Guopai and smiled. I am so envious. The innate 10 perfections is definitely the number one divine body. Guopai looked at Yin'er and smiled. Are you going to go back with me or follow Senior Bu'er? I have already told Master that I will follow Second Master from now on. Yin'er smiled and said, Brother Kong Fei's body has recovered, right? Yin has to thank Brother Kong Fei properly for my recovery this time. There are no outsiders. You are the disciple of Master Bad. I will still have to follow you in the future. Kong Fei said with a silly smile. Things are settled. We have wasted quite a lot of time in Shushan. When a few of them wake up, let's prepare to return to the imperial capital. Guopai said with a smile. When they returned to the imperial capital, it was about time for them to prepare for the wedding with Lin Shuang. Comfortable. This place is really a good place to cultivate. After about 3 hours, Shueda Zhu was the last to wake up. Then he saw the few of them surrounding him. He scratched his head and asked, Master Bad, when did you come back? You have been back for a day. Looks like you have gained quite a lot this time. Let's go back to the imperial capital. Guopai said with a smile. The few of them separated at the foot of Shushan. Yin sat in Guopai's car. After handing Yin over to Guopai, Daoist Bu'er was very relieved. He also had some free time and did not need to help Yin find a doctor. Daoist Bu'er returned to Shushan sect and prepared to rest for a while before going to Japan. This time, he was very unhappy with the Sakura group. With Daoist Bu'er's personality, if he did not take revenge, how could he achieve great things? Boss, are we going back to Wu Castle first or directly to the imperial capital? When they reached the highway, Kong Fei, who was driving, asked softly. Let's go back to Wu Castle first, and then to the Imperial Capital. If we're going to the Imperial Capital, we will have to bring Grandpa and Grandma, Guopai said with a smile. The six of them sped towards Wu Castle. Master Qin, you have been working hard recently. We are back. Guopai and the others got out of the car and coincidentally met Qin Fengyu, who was wandering around. Guopai looked at the tired grandpa and felt touched. You are finally back. Since you are here, I have to go back to Mount Buzhou. A few days ago, my brother sent a letter to me at Mount Buzhou, asking me to go back quickly. He said there was something important. Qin Fengyu said with a smile. Guopai nodded lightly, and then handed Qin Fengyu a jade bottle. Master Qin, you are now in the Shudan realm. I also know about Mount Buzhou. Although the spiritual energy there is better than here, it is far from enough to enter the Golden Core realm. There are 3 Qinkuan Qi replenishing pills inside. Whether they can help you enter the Golden Core realm or not will depend on Grandpa's luck. Guopai said with a smile. Qin Fengyu's whole body trembled. Ordinary people might not understand what the Golden Core realm meant, but how could people like Wu Xiao not know? According to various ancient books, the Golden Core realm might be the true beginning of Wu Xiao. Qin Fengyu had never thought that he could enter the Golden Core realm. After all, the hidden illness in his body affected his strength. But now, Guopai had given him everything he needed. Kid, I won't say any more words of thanks. If there's anything you need me to do, just send a message, Qin Fengyu said softly. I'll be leaving today. I believe we'll meet again. Master Qin, I wanted you to go to the capital to attend my wedding. But it's okay if you miss it this time. Master Qin will definitely attend your next wedding. Haha, Guopai said with a smile. Qin Fengyu also laughed. The young man in front of him was indeed not ordinary. There is something I need to tell everyone today. At night, Bugyaku went into seclusion. Guopai gathered all the students in Bugyaku. Everyone has worked hard these days. I believe everyone's medical skills have improved a lot. Boss, what is it? You and Himo are getting married. You still owe us a banquet. Ha! Chunjati said with a smile. The other students also laughed. Himo, who had returned to Bugyaku, blushed. If you want to eat, how about I prepare a table for you tonight? Ha! But there is something I need to tell you first. Guopai said with a smile. Tomorrow, Bugyaku will be closed for the day. I will assess what you have learned these days. Then, 10 people will follow me to the capital. Our Bugyaku branch in the capital is ready to open. When Guopai finished speaking, all the students became excited. Although Wu Castle was big, it was still lacking compared to the capital. The influence of the capital was far greater than that of Wu Castle. In other words, the capital was a bigger stage. Chapter 272. Boss, are you going to open the Bugyaku in the capital so soon? Shunjeti couldn't help but ask. After staying in Bugyaku for a few months, he had a new understanding of Chinese medicine. Although he used to study Western medicine, he was very talented in Chinese medicine. Now, he could take charge in Bugyaku. Emperor Jia, although you haven't been studying Chinese medicine for a long time, you are very talented in Chinese medicine. Do your best today. The opening of Bugyaku in the capital will definitely have more patients than in Wu Castle. I need people who can withstand the pressure to go there. Guopai said softly. All of you have made great progress in the past few months. I hope you can show your best in this examination. Of course, whether you can go to the capital or not, you are all the best doctors. In the future, medical centers will be opened in Haicheng City, Jinmen City, Huaxia, and many other big cities. You will be the head of each branch. Boss, you just want to see the current strength of this examination, right? Then let's start directly. Xiao Qian said with a smile. The others nodded. Guopai looked at the dozens of students and nodded with satisfaction. The first batch of students he chose was very successful. Whether it was the students of the College of Traditional Chinese Medicine or the College of Western Medicine, they were all very talented in Chinese medicine. He was very satisfied. Guopai didn't stay idle. He directly set up 20 tables and put the things he prepared in advance on the tables one by one. This examination is divided into 2 parts, a written examination and a practical examination. Now, let's start the written examination. Each of you will write a question and hand it to me when when you finish," Guopai said with a smile. The 20 students stood in front of the tables one by one. After a while, their expressions changed. "Boss, I've finished. But this question is a bit too easy," Lu Feng said with a smile. "Hand it in when you're done." "Let me have a look," Guopai said with a smile. Lu Feng quickly stepped forward and handed in the test paper. "Fengzi, why don't you stay in Wu Castle for now? I know you have some questions. Stand aside and wait for them to finish," Guopai said with a smile. Lu Feng nodded slightly. Perhaps he would refute if others criticized him, but he was completely convinced by his boss, the owner of Bugyaku. Since Guopai said that he would stay in Wu Castle, there must be a reason for him to stay in Wu Castle. About half an hour later, everyone handed in their test papers. Guopai looked through them quickly and divided the test papers into 2 parts in about 5 minutes. "Boss, how is it? We haven't slacked off recently." Chao Qinquan smiled and said, "Although we used to study Western medicine, we have been working hard on Chinese medicine these days. We hope that you can consider the students of the College of Western Medicine." "Qinquan, you're wrong. You're now Bugyaku's students," Guopai said with a smile. "Look at each other's test papers. What's the difference between the 2 piles that I divided? Then tell me your answers." "Lu Feng, there's something wrong with your prescription." Lu Yaosher looked at Lu Feng's test paper and said softly, "If you use Gastrodia elata and 3 hearts grass together, will it affect the efficacy of 3 hearts grass? In addition, you need to consider whether the patient is a man, a woman, or a child, and their physical condition." Lu Feng's face flushed with Lu Yaosher's words. He had read about the diseases that Guopai wrote the most recently. Most of them were men, but a small number of women would be affected. The medicine used by men and women were indeed different. "HMO, there's something wrong with your prescription. If it's not used with acupuncture, some of the herbs in the prescription will have to be changed," Chunjiati said softly. HMO nodded slightly. According to Chunjiati's words, the efficacy of the medicine would be improved. Guopai nodded slightly after hearing Chunjiati's prescription. After almost an hour of discussion, only Lu Yaosher, Lung Shuang, and Chunjiati's prescription had no problems. The rest of them had more or less problems. "Let me introduce you to someone. His name is Yun Er, and he's my disciple. Today's second question will be written by Yun Er." Guopai analyzed all the test papers, called Yun Er to his side, and said with a smile, "Brothers and sisters, you can all feel Yun Er's pulse at once, and then write down the symptoms of Yun Er's pulse." Yun Er said with a smile. Ever since the spirit returned, Yun Er's personality had changed greatly. She was originally a complete person, and all the things that she had learned from Taoist Buer over the years were all integrated in the moment her spirit returned. Lu Yaosher and the rest took turns to feel Yun Er's pulse. Basically, everyone shook their heads and stood to the side, unable to write down anything. "Master, I have some understanding of their pulse reading ability." When the last person finished feeling his pulse, Yun Er stood up and said with a smile, "Then I'll announce the people who will follow us to the capital." Guopai nodded slightly, and then Yun Er divided the 20 people into 2 groups. She pointed to Chunjiati and Lu Yaosher's group and nodded slightly. "Little Yun Er, tell us the reason for your choice. Otherwise, a few of your brothers and sisters will not be convinced," Guopai said with a smile. "I haven't learned Chinese medicine from Master Guopai, but I did learn a little from Taoist Buer. However, it was only when Taoist Buer felt my pulse. When the brothers and sisters here feel my pulse, they feel a little different. It's just the communication between the fingers and the meridians. You may not be able to feel it, but I can. You can think about it." Although Yun Er's meridians are clear, there will be a big jump after about 10 seconds. Is it because some of you did not trigger the big jump just now? Yun Er said with a smile. At this moment, the 10 people who were not convinced nodded their heads slightly. Following which, the 20 students separately explained the symptoms of Yun Er that they had obtained when they had taken his pulse. At first, no one thought much of it. Later on, everyone realized that this 12-year-old youth in front of them was the true genius. He could actually change his own pulse as he wished. Moreover, he could clearly remember the pulse that he had taken for 20 people. This made these students who were not from the medical hall realize that there was always someone better than them out there. Tomorrow morning, I will go to the capital. The matters of Wu Castle will be handed over to He Imo, Uncle Zhou, and Daju will stay in Wu Castle. I don't think anyone will dare to cause trouble. On the day of my brother's wedding, all of you will come to the capital. At that time, I will give you all something good, Guo Pai said with a smile. At night, Guo Pai prepared a table of delicious food. The whole of Bugyaku was very lively. Kong Fei strength-shocked Zhou Tianyang. Originally, they were both in the enlightened realm. Now that Kong Fei was one level higher than him, Zhou Tianyang was very envious. Boss, where did you get this little lion? Are you going to raise it in Bugyaku? The flaming mythological beast that Guo Pao had brought was placed in his bedroom. The fragrance of meat outside had attracted the little fellow out, and it just so happened that Su Tu was looking at it. Fortunately, the little fellow was quite good-looking, otherwise it would have caused a big mess. What a cute little guy. I will carry it over. After saying that, Lu Yaoshi went to carry the fire beast. Guo Pai wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Ah, it's burning me. Lu Yaoshi's hands had just touched the fire beast when a piercing pain came from his fingers. The fire beast didn't care if you were a beauty or not. When it saw that someone bigger than it was about to hug it, it raised its body temperature. Crush this pill and apply it to your hand. Guo Pao stood up and handed an emerald green pill to Lu Yaoshi. He then hugged the fire god beast and said, "Smelly brat, you've already caused trouble for me. Boss, what is this thing? Is it hungry?" Jia Xiaoxiao asked softly. The fire beast seemed to understand Jia Xiaoxiao's words. It nodded its head fiercely. Guo Pai directly took a big piece of meat and threw it to the little fire beast. The little guy used its two little paws to hold it and eat. The originally cold meat was actually steaming. The few people stared with their eyes wide open. "Master, is this little guy a divine beast?" Lu Yaoshi looked at the fire beast and asked softly. Chapter 273. Guo Pai explained the fire mythological beast to everyone. After all, he couldn't let too many people know about this little guy. The fire mythological beast was a heaven-defying existence in the human world. The dinner was good. Guo Pai explained some things to everyone. Everyone cleared the table and went back to sleep. The next morning, Guo Pai took 10 people directly to the imperial capital. In 10 days, he would marry Lin Xuan. Of course, during these 10 days, he still had to settle the matters in Bugyaku. Guo Pai and his group didn't cause a big commotion, but it still caused a big stir in the imperial capital. Not to mention the Xianyuan family and the Nangong family. Other second-tier families also gathered in the Gu family. This Gu family was obviously not the Gu family of the past. The current head of the Gu family, Gu Yun, was no longer a member of the Tyrannosaurus group. However, the relationship between the Tyrannosaurus group and the Gu family was now very close. This was because there was a big courtyard next to the Gu family's mansion. It was the place where Guo Pai was going to open Bugyaku in the imperial capital. "Gu Yun, I went to Wu Castle Bugyaku a few days ago. I think you don't need to be busy. The furniture in Wu Castle Bugyaku is made of purple gold sandalwood. Not to mention the workmanship. If you want to get all the purple gold sandalwood, you will have to go to the royal mausoleum in the imperial capital." Kong Fei said with a smile. "I don't know where Little Bad got so much purple gold sandalwood. I asked his sworn brothers, but they didn't know either." Jia Yuan said that he was only in charge of the renovation. Little Bad put in the things himself. Gu Yun helplessly shook his head and said, "Then let's wait for Little Bad to come back and do it himself. You first put the herbs brought by these big families and our Tyrannosaurus group. When the waiting cabinet is ready, just put it in and the medical hall can open for business." Kong Fei said with a smile. The few people started to get busy again. "Brothers, you're still busy. It seems like you're preparing to eat at my place in Bugyaku today." At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Guo Pai and his group directly parked their car at the entrance of the imperial city, Bugyaku. Guo Pai looked at the few brothers of the T-Rex group who were busy distributing medicine inside and said with a smile, "Haha, Little Bad, you're finally back. The few of us don't dare to go back to Mount Baolong now. As long as we go back, the Dragon King won't stop nagging. Do you want to go back with us soon? Xing Tian said with a smile. I don't have much time these days. Bugyaku is about to open for business, and my kid's wedding is in 10 days. I think the Dragon King should be able to come down from a mountain. Guopai said with a smile. Thanks for your hard work, brothers. I'll make something delicious for everyone tonight. Where's Brother Guopai? Didn't you come back? Where is he? While the few of them were talking, a few big guys walked in from outside. Nioming led a few elite soldiers of the 531 army in directly. Brother, if you didn't come back, those old guys of the 531 army would have tortured us to death. In a few days that Guopai went to Mount Shu, although the people of the 531 army knew where Guopai went, they couldn't contact Guopai. Military region competition was approaching, and the few old guys were looking forward to getting some more pills to improve the strength of the military region. At that time, they would teach the other old guys of the military region a lesson. Brother, although your medical center hasn't opened yet, we've already sent gifts. The Chinese medicine here is part of our 531 army. Nioming whispered, and the few of them laughed. The matter of the pills is easy to solve. I've gained a lot from my trip to Mount Shu. You guys go back and tell the old man of the 531 army that when I open for business in Bugyaku, I'll prepare the pills for everyone. Guopai said with a smile. During the trip to Mount Shu, not to mention the top-grade herbs, the other high-quality herbs were enough to make him suffer for a while. It was said that there was strength in numbers. Guopai brought the students of Bugyaku, the violent dragon group, and the 531 army together. In about 2 hours, they had already divided the herbs. Guopai was shocked by the quality of these herbs. The herbs that were brought by a group of laymen were all high quality, without any adulteration. However, after thinking about it, he felt relieved. The 531 army and the few big families of the imperial capital were collecting herbs in Huaxia. If it wasn't for the fact that some herb merchant was tired of living, they definitely wouldn't provide them with fake herbs. Most of the herbs of the Violent Dragon group were collected in the Violent Dragon Mountain, so there was no way that they were fake. Brother, is the food ready? Fiddling with these things is more tiring than cultivating. Xing Tian and the others couldn't help but squat on the ground. They didn't look like the leaders of the Violent Dragon group at all. Thank you for your hard work. Emperor Jia, call a few people over to serve the dishes. Guopai said with a smile. In a short while, a long table that was temporarily set up was filled with food. The few fellows of the Violent Dragon group didn't care whether everyone was present or not and had already started eating. The few people of the 531 army were not to be outdone. They didn't wait for Guopai and had already started eating. You guys hurry up and eat. These fellows eat fast. I won't be tormented when I'm not here. Guopai said to Chinjiadi and the others with a smile. He walked to the faucet and washed his hands. Little fellow, are you going to eat some more? Guopai felt the movement of Little Fire and said with a smile, Go, grab whatever you want to eat. Don't burn yourself. Your bloodline hasn't awakened yet, but you can eat quite a lot. Xiao had jumped onto the table with a swoosh and dashed toward the huge bear paw that Guyan had just picked up. He directly snatched that huge bear paw and ran back to Guopau's side to eat it. What is this? Guyan shouted loudly. Then he saw a little thing with red fur standing beside Guopai. Looking at the mischievous smile on Guopai's face, Guyan, who was about to make a move, quickly stopped. Kid, where did you get this little pet? Its appearance is not bad. Lend it to me to play with for a few days. Brother Gu, you can't play with this thing. Hurry up and eat, Guopai said with a smile. Several Bugyaku students laughed, causing the others to be at a loss. Little Fire ate very quickly. Then, it didn't hold back. Whenever it saw something it wanted to eat, no matter who picked it up, it would jump up and snatch it. The dinner was very lively. Brother Gu, get someone to clean up a few rooms for us Bugyaku students. I have to tidy up here, Guopai said to Gu Yun with a smile. Tyrannosaurus group and 531 group also followed him to the Gu residence. In the entire Bugyaku courtyard, only Guopai and you were left. Big wife, are you full? Let's do some exercise to digest. Guopai looked at you, and said. Bastard stud, if you want to digest, go out and run a few laps. I don't have time to accompany you. You said with her eyes wide open, her face flushed red. See, you're thinking the wrong way. I'm saying that the opening of Bugyaku is still in the imperial capital. The furniture of Bugyaku still needs Yu'er's help. Guopai said with a smile. Scoundrel, big scoundrel. Yu'er was stunned and scolded loudly. Guopai didn't say much. There was a lot of wood in Lao Juan's gourd. In a short while, the whole courtyard was filled with wood. You opened a medical center, you married a wife, and you even asked me to help. Scoundrel, big scoundrel. Yu'er said, but her hands were not idle. A small dagger was swinging rapidly on the wood. In a short while, pieces of furniture had been formed. Guopai gave you a thumbs up again. Her skills were absolutely superb. The two people were busy until 3 o'clock in the morning. The courtyard was full of furniture. Guopai admired Yu'er's craftsmanship, and Yu'er appreciated Guopai's wild imagination in the shape of furniture. The two people didn't move the things into the house. There were plenty of people to do such physical work tomorrow. Guopai looked at the dawn and directly pulled Yu'er into the room. Then, the room was full of spring. Stud, get up. It's almost 10 o'clock. In fact, at 8 o'clock, the two people heard people entering Bugyaku's courtyard. Without thinking, they knew that it was the group of students from Bugyaku. Then, a few people from the T-Rex group also came, followed by a few big guys from the 531 group. Yesterday, we were still talking about the furniture. I didn't expect it to be done in one night. How did Guopai do it? I checked the surrounding surveillance. Guopai didn't leave the courtyard at all. Guyan couldn't help but say, these things are too heavy. Let's not move first. Xinjiati said honestly. Several students nodded. Niuming and the others looked around. Their hands didn't leave the furniture in the courtyard. Damn it, I don't care. When I get married, I'll ask my brother for a set of furniture. If this thing is placed at home, I'll definitely have a lot of face. Niuming couldn't help but say. The others nodded. You want a set of furniture? Little Mengzi, do you know what this is made of? It's purple gold sandalwood. Go to your house and ask your grandfather if he has any stock of this. You want a set? You're really arrogant. I don't want anything else. There's a piece of leftover material. I'll discuss it with Guopai later. I'll leave it to you, Xing Tian said with a smile, while holding a piece of wood that was about the same size as the one that Jia Yuan was going to take away. Then this piece of wood is mine. Niuming also quickly took a piece of leftover material that wasn't small. Is this the most awesome group of soldiers in Huaxia? Why are they so useless? Xinjiati couldn't help but mutter. Chapter 274. Guopai walked out with Yu'er and was amused by the people in front of him. The members of the T-Rex group and 531 each held a few pieces of leftover wood from yesterday's furniture and looked at Guopai proudly. Brothers, what's the meaning of this? Guopai asked with a smile. Yu'er couldn't help but laugh. Niuming's high-end casual clothes were bulging from the wood, and palm-sized pieces of wood were stuffed all over his body. Brother, sister-in-law, don't laugh. These things are all good stuff. Purple gold sandalwood. An inch of sandalwood is worth an inch of gold. You should have heard of it. It's a pity to throw away these things. Niuming said with a red face. Brother Meng, if you want these things, then take them. But don't you have to help me move these furniture into the house first? Our Bugyaku students can't move them. Guopai said with a smile. Niuming looked at the fierce members of the T-Rex group and nodded his head lightly. He neatly placed the sandalwood pieces on his body in a pile and specially called Jia Xiao to his side. Little sister, I don't think you can do the work of moving furniture. Just help me look after these things. When Big Brother is done, Big Brother will take you to a luxurious street and get you a donkey bag. It's that LV, Niuming said with a smile. Jia Xiao nodded her head lightly. This big guy in front of her was very interesting. The other people also found the Bugyaku students one after another. Looking at the purple gold sandalwood that they occupied, Guopai and Yu couldn't help but laugh. Little guy, don't run around. What are you so excited about? The members of 531 were moving the furniture. Xiaofa, the mythological beast, began to jump up and down on the furniture, as if it didn't want anyone to move. Husband, this little beast is very knowledgeable. This ancient mythological beast is much more sensitive to good things than ordinary people. You were said with a smile. Guopai nodded his head lightly. Suddenly, he thought of something and his face showed a smirk. Sure, Guopai whistled. Xiaohu was stunned for a moment. Then, he flew to Guopai's side and looked at Guopai expectantly. This is for you. Guopao took out 3 pills and placed them on the table. He looked at the laughing flame divine beast and said with a smile. The little fellow looked at the 3 identical elixirs on the table and walked over to smell them. Finally, she happily stuffed the one with the strongest spiritual qi into her mouth and looked at Guopai with a satisfied face. Big brother bad guy, what do you think? Is this little guy's perception of spiritual energy much stronger than ordinary people? You were asked with a smile. I've run out of jade cores. After I'm done with my work, I'll take the little guy out for a stroll and find some good jade cores. Huh, Guopai said with a smile. Her perception of good things is indeed very strong, but she is still a little silly. If it were me, I would have taken all 3 of these pills in one go. The little fellow seemed to understand Guopai's words. Her eyes widened. She hadn't swallowed the most recent pill yet. Her expression became even more funny. The few people who didn't move the furniture laughed again. When it was almost 12 o'clock, several people wanted Guopai to make some food. Guopai didn't have that much time, so he directly took a group of people to a hotel not far from the medical center. More than 30 people took 3 tables, but before the meal was finished, the whole hall was full of people. Xianyuan Tingfei took a group of disciples of the Xianyuan family to the hotel and took a table next to Guopai. The people of other families booked the whole hotel in a short time. Brother, I knew you came back yesterday. My father urged me to come over again and again. Today's meal is on me. You have to give me a chance. Xianyuan Tengfei said with a smile. You really have to take some time to visit my family. The wine you gave to your sister-in-law has run out. Recently, the little guy in her belly has been naughty again. Little Neza, I almost forgot about him. It seems that I have to go to the Xianyuan family soon. Guopai thought to himself. After I open my business in Bugyaku, I'll go to the Xianyuan family to see my sister-in-law. I've been busy recently. You can see if the Xianyuan family is free. If there are some little guys with good eyesight, come to Bugyaku to help. Guopai said with a smile. Xianyuan Tengfei hurriedly responded, Brother, I've been free recently. I'll come here to help you. Guopai nodded with a smile. Then, a group of rich second generations in the capital surrounded Guopai and expressed that they would come to Bugyaku to help. The boss of the hotel widened his eyes. It turned out that this young man was the main character today. After drinking and eating to their heart's content, Xing Qian and the others got Guopai's promise. The matter in Bugyaku was basically solved. They hurried back to Mount Baolong to report. 53. Wan Yoming and the others also went to report to the several old men. However, there were many people in Bugyaku. Xianyuan Tengfei led a group of rich young masters in the capital to help in Bugyaku. After working for an entire afternoon, Bugyaku was clean from top to bottom. These rich second generations who followed Xianyuan Tengfei really contributed. These people who had never worked at home thoroughly experienced the pleasure of working today. Brothers, don't go. Today, I'll take care of your meals. Guopai looked at the group of people who were staggering in the courtyard and said with a smile. Xianyuan Tengfei called the group of people up. They suddenly widened their eyes. The layout of Bugyaku made their eyes light up. They really couldn't believe that working for such a long time, just now, could have such an effect. Old 7, the ground was dragged by the 2 of us. Look, it's so clean. Ha! A young man in his mid-20s said with a smile. In fact, what he wanted to express was the artistic conception of the furniture, but he couldn't express it. Guolaosher nodded with a smile, as he didn't ask them to help him. In less than half an hour, the dining table was filled with delicacies. Of course, there was also good wine. The aroma of the meat and wine attracted the group of people into the room. At the sight of the table full of delicacies, they giggled like idiots. Brother Tingfei, is this wine really the wine from the last auction? Now, even if you have money, you can't drink it. I didn't expect that I would drink it, hee hee. A young man said to Xianyuan Tingfei with a smile. Look at you, hanging around with bad guy. You don't have to ask about food and drink. Xianyuan Tingfei said with a smile. He couldn't help but pick up a piece of jerky and put it into his mouth, which attracted the dissatisfaction of the crowd. Boss, we're at the Imperial Capital Airport. See if you can come and pick us up. The Imperial Capital Bugyaku would open 3 days later. Guopai felt that the 10 people he brought were not enough, so he called Himo to send 5 students. He was busy today and forgot about them. Su2, you 5 take a taxi and come here. I have something to do here. I'm not done yet. Guopai said with a smile on the phone. I say, big brother, give me the phone. I really have to go home. Su2 didn't speak, but Guopai heard a strange voice. Fellow countrymen, I'll talk to my boss for 1 more minute. I'll give you the phone immediately. Su2 said with a trace of apology. Boss, all the valuable things on the 5 of us have been stolen. Now we can't take a taxi. We borrowed the phone from fellow countrymen. Why don't you come and pick us up after you're done? After saying that, Su2 hung up the phone. Guopai on the other side of the phone was stunned. Boss, I heard Su2's voice just now. What's the matter? Or I'll go and have a look. Chun Jiadi, who was sitting on the left of Guopai, said softly. You and Xiankuan go together. Each of you drives a car to the Imperial Capital Airport. Let's pick them up first. Guopai said softly. His medical center was about to open, but it seemed that this opening wouldn't be as smooth as he thought. Brother, what's the matter? Do you need me to help you? Xianyuan Tingfei saw something and asked with a smile. Nothing. Some students of Wu Castle came to the Imperial Capital and their money was stolen. Let's eat first and wait for them to come. Guopai said with a smile, but he was very unhappy in his heart. In those years, the ancestor of the Steel Sect didn't dare to do anything to him. Now someone from the Steel Sect dared to make trouble for him, which made Guopai very unhappy. According to common sense, even if someone wanted to steal from a few students, it was impossible to steal all the 5 of them. They had to leave some money for them. This was the rule of the Steel Sect in those years. It was called leave something for yourself. In case something happened in the future, you could also leave something for yourself. Unexpectedly, these people were so ruthless this time. It seemed that they came for him. Brother, someone will come and pick them up later. Shall we continue or leave them a way out and let them go back? Su2's fellow countryman asked a middle-aged man in a suit in a corner not far away from Su2's group of 5. Continue. Black Phoenix offered such a high price. We have to break the rules this time. Chapter 275. In an inconspicuous courtyard house in the capital, a man and a woman were sitting facing each other. The lights were off, but one could tell that the woman had a good figure, but one couldn't tell how old she was. Black Phoenix, Guetian, is already dead. What else do you want? It wasn't easy to hide what happened in Wu Castle. What else do you want? We could have messed with that kid in the past, but now we can't. The man looked at the woman and said loudly. That woman was none other than the woman on the top floor of Wu Castle. Are you my brother? You said you would help me no matter what. Are you afraid of that kid now? Black Phoenix looked at the middle-aged man and asked loudly. There are 2 capitals in Huaxia. One is during the day, and the other is at night. I don't care what happens during the day, but at night, the capital belongs to me. Maybe you would call him crazy after hearing this, but 50 years ago, someone dared to say something like this, and no one dared to refute it. The He family of the capital, or the He family of Huaxia, was an extremely rare surname. It ruled the underground forces of Huaxia. This middle-aged man was the young master of the He family, He Qilin. The woman on the top floor of Wu Castle was the only woman of this generation of the He family, He Qilin's sister, He Feng. Hey Feng, I'm warning you. The He family is no longer the He family of the past. That kid has a good relationship with the Violent Dragon Group. He went to Shu Mountain a few days ago. Although I don't know what he went to do, I'm sure he has a good relationship with Shu Mountain. The destruction of the Gu family in the capital had a lot to do with this kid. He's indeed not someone we can mess with now. Hey, Qilin said, I'll ask Shi Qian of the Thieves sect to steal a few students from Bugyaku at the airport. I don't care who he has a good relationship with. I'll make him uncomfortable bit by bit and deal with him bit by bit. Since you made up your mind, I'll tell you this. If anything happens, you'll have to bear it yourself, my good sister. After that, the Black Qilin left the Sihiyuan. The Black Phoenix slowly closed her eyes, and a man who looked very similar to Guopai appeared in her mind. Guotian, I will make your son pay for all the harm you did to me back then. Bugyaku was about an hour's drive away from the airport. Chunjiadi and Chao Chinkuan successfully found Su Tu and the other 4 people at the airport. After exchanging a few pleasantries, they were about to drive back when they found that the car couldn't start. They checked for a long time, but couldn't find the problem with the car. Chunjiadi was extremely helpless and called Guopai. Emperor Jia, since you've picked up the person, come back quickly, Guopai said to the phone with a smile. Boss, we got them, but the car broke down. We are all at the airport. There are no taxis around here. We can't go back. Chunjiadi said with a red face. Both your and Chinkuan's cars broke down? Guopai asked softly. Yes, I can't find anything wrong with them. They're all broken. Chunjiadi said softly. Boss, you eat first. We'll think of a way. Eat your ass. You guys wait here. I'll be there soon. Guopai couldn't help but shout. The car that Chunjiadi and Chao Chinkuan drove, there was from the T-Rex group. They couldn't even fix the engine. Even if there was no oil, the battery and the solar panel could guarantee that the car could run for 1,000 kilometers. As long as the main parts weren't damaged, the car wouldn't have any problems. But now, both cars broke down at the same time. It seemed that someone was really looking for trouble with them, and the person's background wasn't small. Brother, what's the situation? Xinyuan Tengfei asked softly. Everyone at the table looked at Guopai in unison. The students of Bugyaku didn't seem to have seen their home masters so angry. You guys eat and drink well. I'll go out for a while, Guopai said with a smile. You don't have to follow me. I'll settle this myself. Guopai looked at Xinyuan Tengfei, who stood up to follow him, and waved his hand to let him sit down. The Bugatti Veyron that Jia Yuan gave to Guopai rushed out of Bugyaku and headed for the Daido airport. Sister, that kid drove out by himself. This kind of opportunity doesn't come often. In a high-rise building opposite Bugyaku, a man in black whispered into the phone. Contact Black Tiger. We didn't settle the car accident last time. Let's do it again this time. Black Phoenix squinted her eyes and said. She lied to Black Qilin. She had planned this for a long time. She was sure that this kid would go to pick up Guopai in person and then let the car accident that killed Guopai that morning happen again. But this time, the person they were dealing with was no longer Guopai, one of the 4 evils of Wu Castle who only knew how to race, but the mind-reading deity of the heavenly court. Could it be that someone is plotting against me? Why do I feel so uncomfortable? Guopai's car sped away. The scene of Guopai's car accident kept replaying in his mind. Guopai couldn't help but think. Master Tiger, he is already on the airport highway. If we don't act now, we won't have such a good opportunity. On a mountain near the airport highway, a man in black whispered to a person who didn't look like a master. This person was only 5 meters tall and thin. It was unknown why he was wearing such an ill-fitting suit. This kid made me lose 100 million. This time he must die. As he spoke, Black Tiger opened the metal box beside him and quickly assembled the things in the box. A powerful sniper rifle was in his hand. The performance of this car is much better than the one I had in the past. Anti-puncture tires, bulletproof glass. Looks like I have to use some good stuff from my private stash. As he spoke, a 13-centimeter bullet appeared in Black Tiger's hand. He picked up the bullet, pulled out a strand of his hair, and used a special method to test the performance of the bullet. Kid, try this mother-son radiation bullet of Master Tiger. If you can survive, Master Tiger swears that he won't find trouble with you again, Black Tiger said softly. He set up the sniper rifle and aimed at the speeding Bugatti Veyron. Black Phoenix, after this, Tiger doesn't owe you anything. Black Tiger closed one of his eyes as he spoke. The wind speed and temperature appeared in his mind one by one. Bang! The bullet was fired. The target was no longer the wheels. The bullet's trajectory was directly towards Guopai's head. Here it comes. So there really is a problem. The moment the bullet flew out, Guopai's mind shook violently. He raised his head and saw the bullet flying at high speed toward his head. Pack up. Done. Black Tiger's eyes moved away from the sniper's scope. He took apart his sniper rifle and put the parts into the metal box. He was sure that his shot was not off. It must have hit Guopai's head. Tell Black Phoenix that I've taken care of the matter. Tell her to transfer the 1 billion to my card as soon as possible. This kid is no longer the kid from Wu Castle. If he dies, the capital will definitely be in chaos. I have to go out and lie low for a while. Black Tiger put away the sniper rifle and said to the man in black in front of him with a smile, 1 billion for one shot. This money is really easy to earn. The man in black could not help but sigh. Bang! The Bugatti Veyron crashed into the highway guardrail, flipped a few times, and crashed into the mountain. With a loud bang, it exploded. Even if Guopai was not hit by the gun just now, he would definitely be dead this time. Okay, tell Black Tiger to go out and lie low for a while. I, Black Phoenix, will transfer the money to his card in a while. Black Phoenix said excitedly into the phone. That kind of happy and excited expression was indescribable. Dead, huh? Finally dead. Guotion, your son is dead. You and that bitch's child is dead. Huh. In the busiest area of the imperial capital, a young man deposited a wooden box in the imperial capital branch of the city bank. The item inside was a small heirloom. Because he showed a black card, the people of the city bank had no right to open the box. After the young man finished the procedures, he walked to a nearby coffee shop. Master who? This young master's life is worth a lot more than before. It's already worth 1 billion. However, this young master's Bugatti Veyron is also worth about that much. Shouldn't you compensate this young master's car to this young master first? Chapter 276. His voice wasn't loud, but the young man opposite him was stunned. He didn't expect Guopai to appear in front of him at this time. He didn't know how Guopai recognized him, but now Black Tiger's heart was cold. Friend, are you talking to me? Black Tiger pretended to be calm and looked around, then looked at Guopai and asked with a smile. Two evils of calamity are afraid of the same day. Two evils of calamity are seen at the same time. Two evils of calamity are seen at the same time. Two evils of calamity are seen at the same time. Two evils of calamity are seen at the same time. Two evils of calamity are seen at the same time. It's not good, Guopai said with a smile. Little brother, you know how to read faces? But I don't have time today. This is my name card. You can contact me next week. Black Tiger said and took out a gilded name card. Tian, what a good name. Master Tiger, your slaughter sex methods are useless against me. Come with me now. I promise I won't kill you all. If you don't, then I will slowly find the slaughter sect and leave no one alive. Guopai said with narrowed eyes. Black Tiger's name card was poisonous. But how could such a trick fool a pervert like Guopai? Are you really Guopai? Black Tiger shook his head helplessly and stood up. He looked at the smiling Guopai and asked softly, Let's go. I'm not used to drinking this coffee. I'll bring you to a good place. Guopai said with a smile. The two of them walked to the front of an Aston Martin. Black Tiger opened the door and Guopai sat in the driver's seat, while Black Tiger sat in the front passenger seat. If you have any questions, you can ask now. Guopai looked at Black Tiger and said with a smile. Black Tiger took off the mask on his face. A face close to 40 years old appeared in front of Guopai. He was surprised that Guopai could see his true face through the human skin mask. 30 years ago, there was a fortune teller in the capital who read his face. It was basically the same as what Guopai said. His face was indeed the face of a calamity. Did I make any mistakes? Where did you get my name? And this human skin mask of mine, how did you see my face? Black Tiger asked softly. Wasn't my car accident a year ago planned by your kill gate? There's no such thing as an impenetrable wall in this world. Just because I didn't go looking for you back then, it doesn't mean that I don't know who wanted to kill me, and it doesn't mean that I will continue to tolerate it. Guopai said with a smile, "You don't have any flaws. But I've been following you since you came down from the mountain. How could I possibly find the wrong person? As for your face, the human skin mask is something I've left behind. Don't you think so?" After Guopai finished speaking, Black Tiger was shocked the moment he raised his head. The Guopai in front of him was like a completely different person. How did you do it?" "Is your face also a mask?" Black Tiger couldn't help but ask when he saw a face that looked exactly like his. "It's just some dirty things that can't be brought to the table. Let's go to Shan Peak and have a chat," Guopai said with a smile. "I'll make a phone call first. You sleep for a while. We'll be there soon. Brother Fei, drive a car and find a few people to pick up the students from Bugyaka. I was delayed by something on the way." Guopai dialed Xinyuan Tingfei's number. As soon as he hung up, the phone rang again. It was Jia Yuan. "Fourth brother, where are you now? Are you okay?" Jia Yuan asked with a hint of nervousness. "What can happen? My medical center is about to open. Tell Brother Yao and Brother Sheng that you don't have to come when the medical center opens. But if you don't come to my brother's wedding, we can't be brothers anymore," Guopai said with a smile. "Fourth brother, it's good that you're okay. Did you lend your Bugatti to someone? You better call and ask. The car is broken," Jia Yuan said softly. "I see. Second brother, I still have something to do. Let's talk when you come to the capital." Guopai hung up the phone directly after finishing his words. Hey, Jia Yuan shouted several times, only to hear the beeping sound from the other side. "No, I have to tell Brother Yao. Did something happen to this guy in the capital again?" Jia Yuan's phone call was not a big deal, but the entire imperial capital became nervous again. The news of Guopau's Bugatti being involved in a car accident quickly spread in the imperial capital. Guopau's phone kept ringing, but in the end, Guopao directly turned off his phone. "Sister Yuer, is Guopai all right?" EMO received a call from his grandfather. His heart tightened. He couldn't get through to Guopai, so he had to call the Gu family and then contacted Yuer. "What could happen to him?" "He's fine. Tell the Wu Castle that Guopai is fine. It's just that his phone ran out of battery and turned off. It's okay." Yuer took a bite of a crystal-clear radish and said loudly. Although she didn't know what had happened to Guopai, Guopai's breath didn't change at all. What could have happened to him? "Black Phoenix, didn't you say that you only contacted the Steel Sect? What happened? Is that guy dead?" Black Qilin called Black Phoenix and asked loudly. "Yes, he's dead. Guotian's son is also dead." "Haha. Black Tiger didn't disappoint me this time." "Haha." Black Phoenix said loudly. "If you don't want to do it, I won't force you. But he's still dead now." "Haha." "Black Phoenix, you're in big trouble. Go now. Go to America. Go now. Take my private jet. Don't wait." Black Qilin shouted loudly. "That's more like my brother. Don't worry. If there's any trouble, I won't get you involved." Black Phoenix said softly, "Brother, am I really not as good as that woman? Why did Guotian leave me that year?" "Black Phoenix, go to America first. No matter what, you're the best in my eyes." Black Qilin hung up the phone after saying that. His son is dead. There's no reason for me to stay in Huaxia. Guotian, everything is retribution. You treated me that year. This is your retribution. Black Phoenix disappeared after saying that. "Brother Yao, there's no need to contact the Violent Dragon Group. Fourth brother is fine. I just talked to him on the phone." Jia Yuan found Li Yao in Li Yao's villa and said softly. Even Jia Yuan didn't know that the real culprit of Guopai's car accident was found out by Li Yao through some special channels and told Guopai. Guopai didn't let Li Yao take revenge. Now that another car accident happened, how could Li Yao not be angry? What did you say? Fourth brother is fine? Are you sure it's fourth brother who answered the phone?" Li Yao asked Jia Yuan with his eyes wide open. The phone under his hand was still ringing. "Li Yao, what did you say?" "Guopai is fine." "Who's the person next to you?" The person on the phone questioned loudly. "Brother Xing, Guopai is fine. It's just that his phone is turned off. Let's wait for Guopai to come back. If we go head-on with that organization now, it will have a great impact on Daidu and even the whole Huaxia." Liao dialed Xing Tian's phone and said softly. The violent dragon group knew that Guopai was fine and everything was negotiable. It was also Li Yao's phone call that calmed the storm in Daidu. Chapter 277. Shangyun Peak was a small mountain in the south of the capital. It was less than 400 meters above sea level and was surrounded by several kilometers of mountains. It was the place where some young men with strong hormones came to vent. Basically, there were car races every day. Of course, the accident rate was also very high. In the beginning, the police took care of it, but later they just let these people do it because they couldn't do anything about it. Over time, at 8 o'clock in the evening, this place became a paradise for solving problems. Those who could solve their problems with car racing would come here. Boy, if you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to go to Shangyun Peak. Guopai drove the car into the mountains, and hey, who couldn't help but say, the scenery there is good. It's better to chat there. Guopai said with a smile. What's more, I haven't raced for a long time. Your car is not bad. Let's race on Shangyun Peak. Hey, who stopped talking? He didn't know why, but the moment Guopai appeared in front of him again, the confidence and pride he had built up over the years suddenly collapsed. The Guopai in front of him gave him a feeling that he couldn't beat him. Screech. Guopao then parked his car in the middle of the kilometer. Who can run the fastest here? This master wants to have a race with you. If this master wins, all the other cars will be driven out of here. Go back home and sleep. Zhang Tai nodded his head and said, this master wants to have a race with you. Where did this hairy guy come from? Are you short of milk? I see. There are a few sisters over there. You can go and try. Ha! A young man in a loose suit looked at Guopai unhappily and said, Brat, this is Shangyun Peak. If you want to race with Brother Lei, you have to go through us first. This is your car? Garbage. You want me to pass with this kind of car? Then let me see what kind of performance you can achieve with such a garbage car. While speaking, Guo Xiao jumped into the car again. 500 meters. Whoever turns the corner first loses. After saying that, Guo Xiao swerved the car and drove more than 200 meters. Mengzi, kill this brat who doesn't open his eyes. A candlehead with a silver gun dares to be arrogant here. He doesn't know his place. Someone in the crowd shouted loudly. Mengzi jumped on the car and drove the car to the opposite side of Guopao. Screech. The sound of wheels rubbing against the ground could be heard. The two cars collided head-on. The Aston Martin's starting speed was obviously faster. Mengzi was not a pushover either. The car reached its fastest speed in a few seconds. Mengzi looked at Guopai. I'll bet for you. What if you lose? A 27 or 28-year-old young man walked up to Guopai and asked with a smile. You must be Brother Lei, Guopai said with a smile. If I lose, I'll leave this person's life behind. Black Tiger looked at Brother Lei and nodded gently. Brother Lei, who is that person? W&G Lei walked to the front of his car. A big guy asked softly. Back then, Master Hu asked us to stop him. If Master Hu loses, you guys take our people and leave. If I lose, you guys can leave the capital. After W&G Lei finished speaking, he got into the car. Master Hu, interesting, right? Guopai looked at the expressionless Black Tiger and asked with a smile. Almost won back then. Do you think my luck will be better this time? The two cars stopped at the starting point. A girl with good looks and figure stood in front of the car. Then, she pulled off her bra and threw it into the air. The two cars sped off at the same time. Brother Lei will win. He will definitely win. The big guy said softly. The distance from the starting point to Shangyun Peak was 31 kilometers. W&G Lei's record of 7 minutes and 30 seconds was something that even he couldn't beat again. That was because he gambled with his life in the past. W&G Lei didn't think he would accept such a bet again. But this time he knew he had to do his best. One turn. He's already tied the previous record. On the walkie-talkie, a man shouted excitedly, that guy's not weak. He's following Brother Lei closely. 3 consecutive turns have passed. Brother Lei is 3 seconds faster than the previous record. That's amazing. The kid behind him is only 1 second behind. But Brother Lei should have one. There are not many places to overtake in front, the man said loudly. There are only 3 kilometers left. Brother Lei is sure to win. There's no place to overtake. When Brother Lei turned the last corner, he was 3 seconds faster than his record. I think Brother Lei is going to set a new record. As soon as the man finished speaking, all the people on Shangyun Peak shouted excitedly. Overtaken, overtaken, Brother Lei has been overtaken. The last turn, this is impossible. How did he do it? There's no route at all. How can he complete the overtaking? 7 minutes and 26 seconds, a new record. A man on the top of the mountain murmured with a pair of binoculars. He didn't know the lens of the binoculars was broken. What? Li Tung, what are you talking about? Did you see it wrong? Say something. At the foot of the mountain, the big guy grabbed a walkie-talkie and shouted at it. Everyone, leave Shangyun Peak. In the future, when Guopai from Wu Castle comes here, everyone must leave. WNG Lei's voice sounded from the walkie-talkie. Everyone's eyes widened. Guopai from Wu Castle? Who is that? Do you know? The big guy asked loudly. I've heard of it before. When I went to visit my family in Marshall City 2 years ago, someone seemed to have said that Marshall City has the 4 pests and the 5 poisons. The 4th of the 4 is called Scoundrel Gua. A slightly young-looking boy whispered. Let's go. Since Brother Lei has spoken, let's go. The big guy who was talking to WNG Lei just now came over and said softly. Then the Shangyun Peak, which was supposed to be the most lively time, became dead silent. Brother Lei, right? There are no outsiders here. Don't you two have anything to say? Guopai looked at Black Tiger and WNG Lei and said with a smile, Drink up. I rarely let my enemies drink this wine. You two are the first. Little Lei joined the sect late, so he doesn't know what happened this time. If you have any problems, just come at me. Kid, I'm impressed that you're still alive. Black Tiger took the wine from Guopai and took a big gulp before saying softly, You broke the rules of the Slaughter sect. Since you didn't kill me the first time, why did you accept this job again? I thought the Slaughter sect was much stronger than that bullshit Slaughter Union. I didn't expect it to be so weak. Guopai narrowed his eyes and said to Black Tiger, Speaking of the Slaughter sect, it's the first of the 9 sects in Huaxia. The Slaughter God Bai Qi created the Slaughter sect and set the rules. I didn't expect it to become like this. Guopai shook his head and said, According to the rules, Master Tiger's life should be left in Shangyun Peak. If you want my life, then take it. But can you let me know who you are? You even know the rules of the Slaughter sect. Are you also from the 9 sects in Huaxia? Black Tiger couldn't help but ask. Slaughter, theft, thousand, goo evil, ghost, prostitute, dark medicine. The Slaughter sect is the first of the 9 sects in Huaxia. But now it seems that it's really fallen. Guopai shook his head and said, According to the 9 sects in Huaxia, yours truly should be the last of the 9 sects in Huaxia. However, yours truly doesn't care about the 9 sects in Huaxia. Chapter 278. You're not that Guopai. You're not Guotian's son. Definitely not. Black Tiger said loudly. I'm that scoundrel Gua. Master who? Tell me about that woman and my dead father. I've been tolerating her for a long time. Do you want me to kill her before this matter is over? Guopai squinted his eyes at Black Tiger and said, Brother Lei, drive down the mountain to buy some food. I'll have a good chat with Master Hu. I'll give you half an hour. That should be enough. WNG Lei looked at Black Tiger and Black Tiger nodded. WNG Lei's card disappeared on the mountain road. Guotian was a genius. Although he couldn't be compared to the current dojo master Guopai in Bugyaku, no one in the entire Huaxia could compare to him 18 years ago. Old Master Wushulen was also full of vigor back then. The Guo family was the #1 family in the capital. Black Tiger said softly, If a father pays attention, his son will be Guotian. Although Guotian is the only male in the Guo family, it's enough to suppress the other families in the capital. However, all the changes were because of that black market auction. Black Tiger looked into the distance and recalled the imperial capital's black market auction. It was also because of Guotian's incident that the imperial capital's black market auction was never held as scheduled. A Tian come. Let me introduce you. This is my sister, Black Phoenix. She just returned from America. You two can get to know each other better in the future. Black Sheelan pulled Guation and said with a smile, Brother Black, your sister is my sister. There's nothing much to say. If there's anything in the capital, just give me a call. I heard that there are some good things in this auction. Brother Black, don't fight with me for it. Guation said with a smile. Today's auction item is from Qixia Mountains, Miss Meng Riyun. As for what it is, let Miss Riyun say it herself. After saying that, the host passed the microphone to a masked woman. Qixia Mountains Meng Riyun. Why didn't I notice her when the old man brought me there? Guation looked at Meng Riyun on the stage and muttered softly. Brother Tian, you didn't buy anything today. Now that the auction is over, let's go out for a walk. Black Phoenix said to Guation with a smile. She had heard of Guatian's name when she was in the United States. Her brother held him in high regard. The elders in her family also talked about how Guation was an all-powerful man in the capital. From the first time she saw Guation, Black Phoenix was sure that she had fallen in love with this man. All right, I'll take you to eat some delicacies in the imperial capital in a while. Let's not talk about other things. I basically know where to eat in the imperial capital. Ha! Guation said with a smile. With his intelligence, he naturally understood what Hei Feng meant. Guation didn't want to have too much to do with the Hei family. The item I brought today is a root carving from the parasol tree at the back of Qixia Mountain. Qixia Mountain's Qixia Temple needs to be repaired, so I had no choice but to leave the mountain without Master's knowledge. Meng Riyun said softly, Beauty, take off your veil. If you can enter our discerning eyes, we will help you with the matter of repairing the Qixia Temple. A few of the second generations of the imperial capital said loudly. A few of the older middle-aged men shook their heads helplessly. 100 million, I want this item. If the few of you want it, you can increase the price. Guation smiled as he stood up and looked at the group of unruly young men. The few of them immediately quieted down. They could disobey their parents, but if they offended Guation, they wouldn't be able to stay in the imperial capital anymore. Brother Tian must be joking. We're just casually saying it. The leader of the group said softly. Meng Riyun and Guation looked at each other on the stage. Meng Riyun bit her lips and couldn't help but say, Thank you for your kind intentions, but I'm afraid 100 million isn't enough. Is there anyone who wants to offer a higher price? As Meng Riyun's voice faded, everyone in the room was stunned. An ordinary-looking root carving, Guation offered a sky-high price of 100 million, and you actually said that it wasn't enough? Do you really think that everyone in the room are fools? Brother Tian, this is clearly extortion. Don't take this item. Hei Feng said softly. 1 billion, 1 billion. Give this root carving to me. However, I want to see who you are from the Qixia Mountain. I have been to the Qixia Mountain a few times, but I don't have any impression of someone like you. Guation looked at Meng Riyun and said, When you went up the mountain with Uncle Xin, I coincidentally went down the mountain. When Master came, he said that Brother Guation would want this item. Seems like Master was right again. This item belongs to Brother Guation. As for my appearance, if Brother wants to see me, then follow me to the Qixia Mountain. Master has something to discuss with you. After Meng Riyun finished speaking, she turned and walked towards the entrance of the auction house. Brother Hei, get someone to wrap this item up for me. I will transfer the money to the auction house. You could deduct the handling fee however you want. Everyone, I am sorry. I will take my leave first. After Guation finished speaking, he chased after her. Sister Hei Feng, brother owes you a meal. When I return from the Qixia Mountain, I will make it up to you. Guation followed Meng Riyun back to the Qixia Mountain. They were gone for a year. When Guation returned from the Qixia Mountain, Guatian's temperament had changed completely. The Guation who used to show off had become much more reserved. The more he was like this, the more people in the capital started to speculate about this young Master Gua. Many people went to the Qixia Mountain because of his reputation, but they didn't know what happened to Guation back then. Brother Tian, you said that you would treat me to a meal. This meal made me wait for a year. Heifeng was the first to know about Guo Tian's return. He immediately gave Guo Tian a call. Today is a paradise on earth. My treat. Call Brother He over. Guo Tian agreed readily. However, it seemed like the group of people didn't have a good time eating that meal. Brother Tian, when I was in America, I heard people talking about you every day. This time, I will not go back to the capital. I like you. I really like you. After a year, Heifeng's feelings for Guo Tian had become stronger. Taking advantage of the alcohol, Heifeng pulled Guo Tian and said, Brother Tian, I'm late. Just at this moment, a gentle voice rang in their ears. A long dress formed a sharp contrast with Heifeng's professional attire. Sister, let me explain. This is my girlfriend, Meng Ruiyun. This is Sister Heifeng. Guo Tian said softly. He thought that Heifeng would forget about him after a year. He didn't expect things to turn out like this. She is the woman at the auction that day. Why? How am I not as good as her? Brother Tian, tell me, how am I not as good as her? Is our He family not good enough in your eyes? Heifeng started to cry as she spoke. Sister, I have treated you as my sister from the start. Ruiyun is different from you. Perhaps you will understand in the future. Guo Tian didn't explain further and said softly, Ah Tian, little Feng drank too much. I'm sorry. I lost my composure a little. You guys drink first. I'll bring her back. He Qilin saw everything that happened and shook his head helplessly. His own sister, the sister that he was so proud of, was actually rejected directly. She lost to a woman who looked just a little more innocent. He didn't understand why Guo Tian would make such a choice. There were quite a few people present on that day, but none of them spread the news of Black Phoenix being rejected. This was because they all knew that they had to watch their mouths at times. They knew that before Guo Tian and Meng Ruiyun's wedding, no one mentioned Guo Tian and Black Phoenix again. Chapter 279. Elder Brother Shuiyan, congratulations! 18 years ago, it was the busiest wedding in the imperial capital. Even Hua Xia's #1 came personally. This gave the Guo clan enough face and also brought Guo Tian and Meng Ruiyun limitless glory. Sister-in-law, you are really beautiful today. My brother is really lucky. A pretty girl said to Meng Ruiyun. This girl was Guo Tian's younger sister and also Guo Pai's aunt, Guo Fanyu. Little sister, don't go back this time. Brother Tian and our parents will be worried if you're alone outside. Meng Ruiyun held Guo Fanyu's hand and said softly, Sister-in-law, some things have to be done by someone. 3 years. I will definitely be back in 3 years. At that time, you and my brother should be able to give birth to a baby for our Guo clan. Ha! Guo Fanyu said with a smile. You should hurry up too. I know that there are many talented young men in the imperial capital who are eyeing you. Meng Ruiyun said with a smile. The two of them laughed at the same time. Sister-in-law, I will go out and take a look. If you want to marry me, Guo Fanyu, you must at least have half of my brother's strength. Hee hee. Many people came to Guo Tian and Meng Ruiyun's wedding. Back then, the Guo clan's villa was much bigger than the Gu clan and Xinyuan family. Even the peripheral invitation for the wedding was priced at $1 million. Those who could attend Guo Tian's wedding had already become a symbol of status. Ruiyun, don't return to Qixia Mountain for the next 3 years. You and little Tian will have a tribulation within these 3 years. Master is not sure, but the two of you should try your best to stay in the imperial capital. The dragon Qi in the imperial capital will help you break through your tribulation. None, Xi Yuan. Not many people in the secular world knew of her. However, if she was in a hidden sect, they would more or less give her some face. Just the title of Zhang Sanfeng's 18th generation successor was something that no one in the secular world would believe. However, with the inheritance of Wu Xiu, who would dare to point fingers at the name Zhang Sanfeng? This was also the reason why there were so many people from Wu Xiu at Guo Tian's wedding today. Dear guests, the wedding is about to begin. Please keep quiet. The ceremony was held in the back garden, and the host was the #1 talker in the capital. Guo Tian looked at the guests coming and going and saw his bride not far away. However, the moment he saw Meng Ruiyun, a woman wearing a wedding dress, appeared in his vision. Xiaofeng, what are you doing? Today is Oction's wedding. How can you dress like this? Black Cheelin looked at his sister and stood in front of her helplessly. I know it's Guation's wedding. What's wrong with me dressing like this? Who said that only the bride can't wear a wedding dress? Black Phoenix stubbornly raised his head and looked at Black Cheelin. Big brother, don't I look good in a wedding dress? Black Phoenix, stop messing around. I'm begging you. It's hard to find a three-legged toad in this world, but there are plenty of two-legged men. There are so many handsome young men in the capital. Why do you only like him? Black Cheelin shook his head and said, although Black Phoenix's dress was very unique, no one dared to say anything. No one was willing to offend the Hay family. Move aside. I'm already wearing a wedding dress. Do you want me to take it off? Black Phoenix said and made an action of taking off her dress. Up to you. You can wear this wedding dress. Black Cheelin gritted his teeth and said, when he was in his 20s, he took over the position of the head of the Hay family. His uncles were all submissive to him. His grandfather also saw his strength and passed the position of the head of the family to him. In the entire Hay family, there was only one person he couldn't do anything to. That was his sister who grew up with him. Her intelligence was even higher than his, Black Phoenix. Move aside. The wedding is about to begin. I want to go to the front. Black Phoenix said. She didn't care about what others thought and walked to the front step by step until she reached Meng Riyun, who was also wearing a wedding dress. Big sister Meng, congratulations. Black Phoenix looked at Meng Riyun and said with a smile, I came in a hurry and wore a wedding dress. I hope you don't mind. Little sister, you must be joking. If you want to get married, I think all the unmarried young men here today would be willing to marry a beauty. Meng Riyun said with a smile. Thank you for your kind words. I hope I can also find my destined one. Big sister, it's time. I'll go somewhere else. Otherwise, it won't look good if the guests mistake me for the bride. Black Phoenix said and hugged Meng Riyun lightly. You stole my man. I'll remember this. Her voice was very soft, and no one heard it. Meng Riyun frowned and separated from Black Phoenix. The host let the newlyweds walk to the front of the stage, and the wedding ceremony began. Seeing Meng Riyun walking over, Guationn finally felt relieved. Luckily, nothing happened. However, he wasn't the only one who felt relieved. Black Cheelin's expression also returned to normal. On that day, other than the small incident caused by Black Phoenix, the entire wedding ceremony went smoothly. Only when Meng Riyun was pregnant did Guationn realize that there was a problem. Meng Riyun was poisoned with a mother-child Yin-Yang-gu. It meant that only one of the mother and the child could survive. Young master, it's undoubtedly the mother-child Yin-Yang-gu. From the looks of it, it hasn't matured yet. However, if this continues, only one of the young mistress and the child can survive. An old man from the Gua family said to Guationn, Uncle Da, don't tell Riyun about this. I'll think of a way. I know who the person is. Riyun and the child will be fine. After saying that, Guationn walked out of the Gua family mansion and drove straight to the Hay family. Brother Hay, is little Foam around? I have something to talk to her about. Guationn dialed Black Cheelin's number. Tion, you're already married. Sister-in-law also has a child. Don't have anything to do with little Foam anymore. Black Cheelin shook his head. Ever since Guationn got married, Black Phoenix's personality changed drastically. She would stay in her room every day. Sometimes, she would stay in her room for a few days. Brother Hay, I want to meet you. Come out for a while. I'm outside your house. Guationn said helplessly. Tion, I remember that you don't smoke. What's wrong recently? You're not in a good state. Black Cheelin looked at Guationn's gloomy face and asked softly. Brother Hay, we've known each other for 20 years. No matter how I'm doing now, I've always treated Brother Hay as my brother. Perhaps Black Phoenix's matter has caused some misunderstandings between us, but I don't think our 20 years of friendship will end just like that. Guationn looked at Black Cheelin and said, Tion, this isn't your style. If there's anything, just say it. Guationn and Black Cheelin had known each other since they were young. Black Cheelin was older than Guationn by 4 years. They could be considered childhood friends. Riyun has been poisoned with mother and child Yin-Yang-gu. After Guitian said that, he didn't look at Black Cheelin anymore and got into the car. Brother Hay, there aren't many people in the Gu sect who can silently plant the mother and child Yin Yang Gu on Rune. I'll leave it to Brother Hay. I think Sister Black Phoenix knows this better than us. Black Cheelin wasn't stupid. After seeing Guitian leave, he went back to the Hay family with a gloomy face. He went straight to Black Phoenix's room. Brother, why are you so free today? Come to my place when you're free. Black Phoenix was carrying a black cat in her arms as she looked at Black Cheelin and smiled. Little Phoenix, are you the one who did this to Guitian's wife? Black Cheelin looked at Black Phoenix and asked. Yes, other than me. Who else would dare to plant Guitian's woman? But I still have to thank Brother. The Goose Sex people aren't people that a little girl like me can order around. Mother and child Yin Yang Gu. Guitian also has experts around him. He discovered it so quickly. Black Phoenix laughed and said, Phone, you've changed. You weren't like this in the past. How did you become like this now? You're a woman of the Hay family. You've disappointed me. Black Cheelin shouted loudly. I'll go to the Goose sect to find the person who planted the goo. This is the first and last time. If you dare to make a move on Guitian again, don't blame me for not caring about our sibling relationship. There's no need to find. I was the one who planted the goo. Ha! Granny Meow saw my talent and took me in as a disciple. Ha! I want that woman to die. She stole my man. She must die. Black Phoenix said loudly. Crazy woman. A woman who wore a wedding dress and appeared at someone else's wedding. How could she not be a crazy woman? Chapter 280. Madman, you're a madman. A complete madman. Black Cheelin shouted. You think you can kill Ruoyun by using the goo? You're underestimating Guitian. You'll regret it. Doing this will only make Guitian hate you more. Ruoyun, you call her so affectionately. Brother, could it be that you've also fallen for that woman? Since Guitian hates me, then let him hate me. If I can't have it, then no one else can. Other than me and Granny Meow, no one else can remove the child mother Yin Yang Gu. Black Phoenix chased Black Cheelin out. Tian, the child mother Yin Yang Gu, was planted by Black Phoenix. She refused to stop. I'll contact Granny Meow from the Goose sect later. I'll help you settle this matter. I'm sorry. Black Cheelin called Guitian and said helplessly. Brother Black, your words are enough. I'll have to trouble you with Ruoyun's matter. Guitian hung up and dialed an encrypted number. Qishao Mountain. Two old men were playing chess. Their expressions were completely different. The white-robed old man frowned while the black-robed old man looked relaxed. Brother Beiyong, you've been thinking about this move for some time. Lin Luoshan. Not many people knew this name in Huaxia. However, the name Crazy Lin was famous in Huaxia's wuxia world. Regardless of good or evil, as long as the black-robed old man didn't go along with his wishes, he would be severely injured at best. In the past 10 years, Lin Luoshan had restrained himself a lot. Grandmaster, phone. A Daoist child ran to Yu Beiyong's side with a Huaxia military's most high-tech phone. Little Shiyun, how many times have I told you not to be so rash? Now that you're shouting, you're messing up my thoughts. I can't play anymore. With that, Yu Beiyong reached out and touched the chessboard. The black and white pieces on the board mixed together. Old thief Beiyong, you cheated. Lin Luoshan shouted. Yu Beiyong didn't care so much and picked up the phone. Little Tian, why did you call me? Where's Ruoyun? A merry disciple is like spilled water. Don't you know how to call me? Yu Beiyong said with a smile. Master, something happened to him. Guitian said softly. His voice was not loud, but Yu Beiyong's face suddenly darkened. Lin Luoshan also narrowed his eyes and listened to the other side of the phone. Don't tell Ruoyun about this. I'll make a trip to the Goose sect. That Miao Feng Wang is very protective. If I can't persuade her, I'll think of other ways. Yu Beiyong hung up the phone. Beiyong, you can't go down a mountain. If you go down Qishao Mountain, you will break the agreement from back then. Things will be troublesome. Lin Luoshan pulled Yu Beiyong and said, 30 years ago, the 9 sects of Huaxia gathered at Mount Luoyang to compete in martial arts and literature. Yu Bei-yong represented the ghost sect. That year, he was in high spirits. However, in the end, he was schemed against by the Killing, Thousand, Thief, and Goose sects. They set a rule that he could not leave Mount Chisha for 50 years. If Yu Bei-yong left the mountain without permission, the other 4 sects would annihilate the ghost sect. It's been 30 years. I don't know how many people the ghost sect has outside. However, I only have one disciple. I must save her. Yu Bei-yong said loudly. I'll go to the goose sect to find that old hag Miao. If I can't handle it, you can go. Lin Luoshan walked down the mountain. Senior, Granny said that if it's about the imperial capital, please go back. Lin Luoshan was blocked outside the mountain gate. A few disciples of the goose sect said politely, I want to see Miao Feng Wang. Move aside. If you want to reject me, you have to say it clearly in person. Lin Luoshan said shamelessly, Senior brother Luoshan, do you want me to reject you in person? That Gua family's matter with Yu Bei-yang's disciple has nothing to do with you. Please go back. If senior brother Luoshan isn't here for this matter, I can invite you up the mountain for a cup of rice wine. This woman looked like she was in her 30s. However, Miao Feng Wang was already at the age of knowing her destiny. Sister Feng Wang, you don't want me to interfere. However, this seems to be crossing the line. The 9 gates of Hua Xia don't get involved in worldly affairs. This is a rule set back then. Lin Luoshan narrowed his eyes. Since senior brother Luoshan knows that this is the rule of the 9 gates of Hua Xia, an outsider like you shouldn't have the right to tell me what to do. If you want to interfere with the matters of the imperial capital, let Yu Bei-yong do it. Where did his ability to fight against 4 gates go? Back then, when my damn old man was knocked off the cliff by him, I begged him to, Miao Feng Wang said loudly. Lin Luoshan also realized that Yu Bei-yong had indeed knocked Miao Siyuan off the cliff during the 9 gates battle. How could he have forgotten about this? Lin Luoshan rushed back to Qixia Mountain without looking back. No wonder she wanted to use Guan Rune. No wonder a year ago, I used the ghost divination technique to predict that Ryun and the others would face a calamity. So this is what she meant. Yu Bei-yong shook his head and said, I will go down the mountain to find them. The root of this matter is me. If I don't go down the mountain, this matter won't be resolved. Letting Atian bring Ryun to Qixia Mountain is better than you going down the mountain. You won't be able to deal with the mother-child Yin-yang Gu even if you go to the imperial capital. On Qixia Mountain, we can work together and see what we want. Qixia Mountain is much stronger than the imperial capital, Lin Luoshan said softly. Yu Bei-yong still wanted to say something, but he still called Guitian and asked him to bring Meng Ruiyun back to Qixia Mountain. Brother Tian, is there something wrong with me? Meng Ruiyun was very smart. From the first time she felt unwell, she more or less knew what was going on. Although Guitian was smiling when he saw her these few days, he still had doubts in his heart. She could tell at a glance. Ruiyun, don't think too much. You're not feeling well. I have been thinking about it. Let's go back to Qixia Mountain and let Master take a look. I don't trust the doctors in the imperial capital, Guitian said with a smile. Master told me to try my best not to leave the imperial capital, Meng Ruiyun said softly. Black Phoenix did something to me. Am I right? That day when we got married, there was an old granny who kept staring at me. Now I remember who she is. She has the word Miao on her collar. She should be from the Goose sect. I was poisoned by them, right? Ruiyun, I can't lie to you. That's right, you were poisoned by Black Phoenix. I went to the He clan, but I couldn't deal with it. Master told us to go to Qixia Mountain and let him think of a solution, Guitian said softly. Hiding it from Meng Ruiyun for a week was already the limit. There were only a few people in the world who were smarter than Guitian. The person who was smarter than Meng Ruiyun probably hadn't even been born yet. Nothing happened when Guitian brought Meng Ruiyun back to Qixia Mountain. On Qixia Mountain, Yu Bei-yong and Lin Luoshan worked together and used a method passed down in the ancient records to help Meng Ruiyun remove the goo. Yu Bei-yong was filled with hatred and directly killed the goo. However, he didn't know that this goo was Miao Feng Wang's life goo. The moment the goo was killed, Miao Feng Wang vomited blood. She was already at the age of knowing her destiny. Miao Feng Wang didn't manage to escape this calamity and died a few days later. However, the people on Qixia Mountain didn't know about this. Guotian and Meng Ruyin stayed on Qixia Mountain for 7 months until Meng Ruyin's stomach grew bigger and bigger. How could these men know how to deliver a child? Helpless, Guotian brought Meng Ruyin down the mountain. When Guotian was less than 100 miles away from the imperial capital, their car's tire suddenly burst. Just when Guotian wanted to pull over to the side to stop the car, a cement tanker truck directly sent Guotian's car flying. If I, Black Phoenix, can't get it, then no one else can. In the He clan, Black Phoenix crushed the wine glass in his hand. It was unknown if it was because of the red wine in the glass or because his palm was pierced by the glass, but the glaring red color made one's heart ache. Chapter 281. Guotian died on the spot while Meng Ruyin was on her last breath when she was dragged to the hospital. However, to everyone's surprise, the child in her womb was fine. "Dad, I can't take it anymore. Please save her child." These were Meng Ruyun's last words. Guotian had died, and Guoxian, who had always been amiable, was enraged. Almost 90% of the He family's influence in the capital had been uprooted by Guoxian through various connections. No matter how strong the He family was, they couldn't be stronger than the country. After the child was born, the Guo family left the capital and settled down in Wu Castle. Guotian's son was named Guopai. He who spoke for almost an hour. WNG Lei bought some food in the middle of the conversation. Guopai ate without saying anything, as if the things He who said had nothing to do with him. "I only know this much. The person who killed your father was an elder of the Kill sect. He died last year as well. This time, we didn't manage to kill you. It's our loss. What do you want?" He who said helplessly. "So," Guopai swung his hand at He who and stood up. "You wanted my life, but I only crippled one of your hands. This can be considered repaying evil with good. I don't care if your Kill sect has to listen to the He family. If there is a next time, Huaxia will no longer have a Kill sect." Guopao jumped into the Aston Martin, and the car sped down the mountain. "Tiger Master, who is he? Is your hand all right?" WNG Lei asked with a nervous expression. "Ah." He who raised his arm lightly. Suddenly, his right hand fell from his arm. A mirror-like cut appeared, causing WNG Lei and He who to widen their eyes. Fast. Guopai's blade was extremely fast. Otherwise, how could he cut off the arm of an enlightened realm expert like He Hu? The He family of the capital. No wonder Guopai didn't have any information about his father. The old man really hit it well. Perfected Lord Mind Reader couldn't help but ask. However, the most important thing now was to return to Bugyaku. Although he didn't know the current situation in the imperial capital, it should be chaotic enough. "Brother, I'm at the airport with a few students. Come pick us up. Damn it, if I find out who did this, I'll definitely destroy them." Guopai had just entered the city when he received a call from Xianyuan Tingfei. "What? Are you still at the airport?" Guopai was stunned. He didn't expect that Xianyuan Tingfei would be in trouble. The Steel sect was really dedicated. "Master Sure, aren't you going to let those students go? It's been almost a day. Those people who came just now seem to be Xianyuan Tingfei from the Xianyuan family. We can't afford to offend them." A smart-looking young man whispered to an old man. "We can't afford to offend them. We can't get through to the Black Phoenix. We've already received the money, so we have to follow the rules. After 12 o'clock tonight, we'll be done with this matter. We'll leave these people alone," Shi Qian said with a smile. "Master Sure, look, the Aston Martin is coming this way." "That's not right. I think I've seen that car somewhere before." The young man was stunned and said, "We can't afford to offend that car. It's He Hu's car. But why is he here?" Shi Qian was also stunned. The Kill, Steel, Thousand, and Goose sects had always been on the same side. He Hu was the first person from the Kill sect to stand out in the imperial capital. They naturally recognized him. "Master Sure, that's not right. The person in the car is a young man. Look, it seems to be the principal of Bugyaku, Guopai," the young man said with a pair of binoculars. "Nonsense. Didn't you hear the call? Just now? He's dead. That kid from the Guo family is dead, Shi Qian said, and took a look at the binoculars. Cough, cough. What's going on? Didn't they say that the kid died in a car accident today? Guo Pai stopped the car in front of Xianyuan Tingfei and the others. Looking at the angry Xianyuan Tingfei, he couldn't help but laugh. This young master of the Xianyuan family had never been treated like this before. He drove the car to pick someone up, but the car wouldn't start no matter how hard he tried. Laugh. Why are you laughing? Who did you offend? I'm starving to death, Xianyuan Tengfei said loudly. At this moment, Guo Pai's eyes glanced at the bottom of the two cars he drove. There was a small opening on the floor tile. Monkey, tell Mouse that he has been discovered. Leave immediately. Shi Qian took a pair of binoculars and saw Guo Pai's expression. He suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. He couldn't help but shout. Guo Pai looked at Shi Qian subconsciously. Then he stretched out his right hand and made a few hand gestures. Suddenly, Shi Qian's back was soaked with cold sweat. Brothers of the Steel Sect, you've gone too far. The simple hand gestures made Shi Qian feel great pressure. That was the sign language passed down from his ancestors. There were less than 5 people in the Steel Sect who could understand it. They were definitely the kings of thieves. How could this kid know it? At the moment when the floor tile was raised, Guo Pai understood what was going on. The Steel Sect was not bad now. They would accept any job, including graphite. No wonder the cars couldn't leave. The people of the Steel Sect directly destroyed the electric system of the cars with graphite. Guo Pai stepped forward and rubbed his body. The Aston Martin was pushed several meters away by him. Guo Pai didn't hesitate and stepped on the floor tile. Ah! A sound came from the ground. Xianyuan Tingfei suddenly became excited. It turned out that he couldn't leave. Someone was really behind this. Graphite. How dare you use it in a place like the capital? Come out. Xianyuan Tingfei pushed the floor tile away and pulled the young man out of the ground. I'll take him away. If you want him, come to Bugyaku. If you don't see him before 12 o'clock tomorrow, you can go to the moat to get the body. After Guo Pai finished the hand gestures, the other cars couldn't be repaired. Guo Pai directly took out a leash and pulled 2 SUVs out of the capital airport, which attracted a lot of people. Mr. Shi, what he did just now was sign language. What does it mean? Mouse was taken away by them. Monkey whispered. That Guo Pai didn't die. He might be a friend of the underworld. This time we went too far. This matter is not easy to solve. Let's go back first. If we want to save Monkey, we have to ask Mr. Jiu. After Shi Qian finished speaking, the two of them drove a broken van to a big house in the suburbs of the capital. Master, don't hit me. I stole it. Let me go, and I'll return it to you untouched. Sitting in the car, Xianyuan Tengfei didn't hold back anymore. He caught a rat and beat it violently. Brother Fei, don't beat him. This is just a small fish. Let's go back to Bugyaku and wait for the big fish. Ha! Guo Pai said with a smile. Brother, when you went out, you seemed to be driving that Bugatti. Why did you come back and change your car? Xianyuan Tingfei didn't know the rumors about Guo Pai's accident and asked with a smile. You'll know when we get back. Guo Pai didn't say much. After about an hour, the students finally followed Guo Pai back to Bugyaku. Oh my, is this Bugyaku in the capital? It's much bigger than Bugyaku in Wu Castle. After Chao Qinkun got out of the car, he looked at the 3 words Bugyaku and said loudly, Good for nothing. Look at you. Let's go in first. You've been busy for a day and haven't eaten. Guo Pai smiled and pulled them into the house. You call Mouse, right? Why? Are you going to run away? Follow me in and wait for your people to come and pick you up. Mouse obediently followed them into Bugyaku. When he saw the tables and chairs in Bugyaku, he couldn't help but widen his eyes. Mr. Shi, the things here are all made of the best purple gold sandalwood. Even the place where the previous emperor lived didn't have such good materials. Mouse reached out and touched a sandalwood table and whispered. Chapter 282. There were a lot of people in Bugyaku. When the news of Guo Pai's death spread from the He family, it immediately made the atmosphere of several big families in the capital tense up. The Nangong family, the Xianyuan family, and several senior colonels of the 531 family all came to Bugyaku. At this time, Bugyaku was very lively. Although you told everyone that Gwapai was fine, no one left. My Bugyaku hasn't opened yet. I don't know what the seniors are here for. Gwapai smiled and said to the group of old men, Kid, are you okay? If you didn't come back, the capital would be in chaos. Xian Yuan, Xiongfeng said loudly. I've made the seniors worry. I'm fine. Are you going to eat here or go back? Gwapai said with a smile. Kid, it's already so late. You're asking us to go back directly? Hurry up and get us something good to eat. We can't lack wine. Today, we must have a meal here. Niuming's grandfather, Niuzhen Shan, said loudly. Gwapai smiled at the crowd. He took out some ingredients and gave them to Deju. His phone rang. When he saw that it was his grandfather, Gwapai directly walked out of the house. Little bad, you haven't called home for a while. Is everything okay? Gwapai asked softly. From the moment Gwapai's car accident happened, Gwapai should be the first to know. This was because he knew Gwapai's whereabouts outside. Although he moved from the capital to Wu Castle, the foundation of a family like the Gua family was not something that ordinary people could understand. Grandpa, I already said that you can let those people go. I'm fine, aren't I? If something really happened, those people can't help much. Gwapai said with a smile. It's good that you're fine. I'll take care of the Hay family. You run your clinic well. Don't worry about other things. This kind of thing won't happen again. Gwapai said and directly hung up the phone. After a long time, Gwapai found out that his chief grandfather was not a good person. All the colonels and above in the 8 major military region of Hua Xia jointly asked the Hay family to give an explanation. He Qilin had no choice but to ask his grandfather, who had not cared about worldly affairs for more than 10 years, to finally promise that he would not do anything to the Gua family in the future. If anyone dares to do anything to Guatian's son again, no matter who it is, the military will take action. There's no need to inform number 1. Several old men said to Gwapai when they left Wu Castle. Tian's family's business, Gwapai Qilin's family. If they dare to do anything to Little Bad, then don't blame. I will not being ruthless. Gwapai Qilin sent off the last group of people and walked straight into the Gua family's mansion. He was whistling and was in a very good mood. Gwapai watched all the videos on the way to the airport several times. The moment the car's tires were stabilized, Gwapai jumped out of the car's skylight and landed steadily on the side of the road. He watched his car crash into the mountain. Then, as if there was a flying sword under his feet, he directly caught up with He Qilin. Of course, this was discovered when Gwapai adjusted the speed of the video to 1/10 of a second. He never thought that his grandson would be so powerful. It will be difficult to kill my precious grandson in the future. However, if anyone dares to cause trouble for him, this old man doesn't mind letting Huaxia exterminate his family. Gwapai Qilin said softly. The group of people ate heartily in Bugyaku. The students were really hungry. Gwapai prepared food twice to fill everyone's stomachs. The old men didn't leave that day. They directly stayed at the Gu family's residence. The students were also arranged to stay at the Gu family's residence. Before Bugyaku opened for business, everyone had arrived. The next morning, the old men didn't come to Bugyaku. They just had some breakfast at the Gu family's residence and went to do what they were supposed to do. However, at this time, an old man came to Bugyaku, followed by a middle-aged man and 2 young men. Sir, our clinic hasn't opened yet. What can I do for you? The door of Bugyaku was knocked open. Jia Xiaoxiao woke up early and asked with a smile. Young lady, please pass this old man's visiting card to the owner of Bugyaku. This old man has disturbed you. The old man handed something wrapped in red silk to Jia Xiaoxiao. Jia Xiaoxiao hesitated for a moment, but still took it. The door was open, but the few people didn't come in. They just stayed outside the door. Jia Xiaoxiao ran inside to find Gwapai. Bad boss, someone is looking for you outside. Are you still sleeping with Sister Yua? Jia Xiaoxiao shouted. Not only did she wake up Gwapai, who was sleeping with Yua, but she also woke up the other people who lived in Bugyaku. Xiaoxiao, what are you shouting for? Who came so early in the morning? You. Blushed and pushed Gwapai out of the room. Gwapai stared at Jia Xiaoxiao and asked her with a bit of anger. It's from outside. It's a visiting card. What time is it? Why didn't you get up? You guys were dead drunk last night. I'm the only one who got up. I want a raise. Jia Xiao said loudly. Xin Yuan Tengfei came out of the room and laughed at once. Bad brother. Who came for you so early in the morning? Xin Yuan Tengfei asked with a smile. Bring that brat out. The seniors of the Steel Sect are here to pick him up. Xiao, let them in. I'll wait for them in the parlor. Guo Pai said with a smile. Jia Xiao waved her fist and ran to the door to invite them in. The few of them walked into the living room. Guo Pao had already boiled the water. The small stove was burning some leftover scraps from the furniture from last time. Guo Pao had also accidentally discovered that boiling water with purple gold sandalwood tasted better. Following the principle of comfort, Guo Pao began to boil water with purple gold sandalwood to brew tea. Bad brother, I've brought him here. When the people of the Steel Sect entered the parlor, Xin Yuan Tengfei also brought the boy nicknamed Mouse into the room. Guo Pai directly drove Xin Yuan Tengfei out, which made Xin Yuan Tengfei quite unhappy. Master Jiu, yesterday's matter. Your people crossed the line. Guo Pai had already read the visiting card in his hand. He knew that the old man was called Kong Yuan. Because he only had 9 fingers, people called him Master Jiu. Little you can call me Old Jiu. I don't know who Little Yu's master is. Are you from the 9 sects of Huaxiao? Kong Yuan stood up and held his fist to Guo Pai, waiting for Guo Pai's reply. So what if I'm from the 9 sects? So what if I'm not from the 9 sects? Guo Pai said, pointing his thumb down and stretching out his ring finger. Seeing Guo Pai's gesture, Kong Yuan almost collapsed to the ground. Kong Nine's gesture had been passed down from the generation of Thief Sect since the generation of Thief Sect. It meant that he was a member of the Thief Sect. If Guo Pao could understand it, he would at least have some connection with the Thief Sect. Then, it would be easy to solve this problem. Chapter 283. Guo Pao was the mind-reading perfected lord. Not to mention how he was doing in the heavenly court. When he was in the mortal world, he had come into contact with all kinds of people. Back then, the Grand Master of the Steel Sect, Kong Shou, was also very polite to Chen Qingyuan. Guo Pai didn't care about these little tricks at all. Guo Pai's gesture was even simpler. He pointed his thumb down and extended his ring finger, which meant that he didn't care about the 9 gates of Huaxia. No matter whether it was true or not, Kong Nine was frightened by this gesture and broke out in cold sweat. Bad master, it's my fault that my subordinates broke the rules. If you want to punish them, punish me. Kong Nine lowered his head and said softly. The juniors of the Steel Sect were shocked. Their master had never been so humble. Old Nine, are you trying to trick me? I know a little about the rules of the Steel Sect. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought the rats back. You guys didn't leave any leeway. According to the rules, not to mention how many of their fingers could be saved, you as their grandmaster should be punished. Guo Pai squinted his eyes and said. Kong Nine lowered his head even more. At first, he was sure that Guo Pai was bluffing, but now he believed that Guo Pai's gesture was not made casually. This thing is not bad. If the 9 sects of China are really capable, then they shouldn't be messing around in China. Although there are no foreign enemies at the moment, those foreigners seem to have more pockets than the Chinese. Guo Pai walked to Kong Nine and said with a smile. When he returned to his seat, there was a piece of ancient jade in his hand. Lord Nine, your jade has been taken away by him. Shi Qian said in a low voice. Kong Nine opened his eyes wide. That piece of ancient jade had been with him for almost 50 years. Even if it wasn't connected to his heart, it couldn't have been taken away by someone else. Bad Lord, did you just use the empty hand technique left behind by the ancestor? Kong Nine couldn't help but ask. This jade is mine. You can take the person away. My Bugyaku is about to open for business. I don't care about the other places in the capital, but you can't touch the patients in my Bugyaku. Also, as I said earlier, if you really need money, it's not a bad idea to make a trip to the nearby island country. If you can bring back something that I like, you might be able to exchange it for something that you want. Xiao, see them out. Guo Pai said and walked out without waiting for Kong Lingtong and the others to say anything. Lao Shu, what are you thinking about? Let's go. Shi Qian said loudly as he watched them leave. Lao Shu was still in Bugyaku. Master, sure, you have no idea. I had a free meal here yesterday, and it was even better than the food you brought from the state banquet. Compared to what I had yesterday, your food was like pig's feed. Thinking about it, Mouse could not help but touch the jerky in his pocket that he was not willing to finish yesterday. Pa, you little rascal, Master Geo and the others were worried that you would suffer. It turns out that you had a meal here. Shi Qian could not help but slap Lao Shu's head. The food I brought you is pig's feed. You'll have to find a way to get your own food in the future. Shi Qian, gather all the members of the thief sect in the capital tomorrow and have a meeting. There's no hunting near Bugyaku. Also, send a message to the Wu Castle. As long as it's within Bugyaku's territory, there's no hunting. After that, bring a few people to Japan and go hunting. Kong 9 said softly after getting on the car. The old thief king felt a little uncomfortable that his ancient jade, which had been with him for decades, was stolen. Brother bad guy, where did you get this jade? It's not bad. You saw Guopai coming out and immediately saw the ancient jade in Guopai's hand. She asked with a smile, You let him go and exchanged it for a piece of jade? I let him go. The ancient jade was obtained by my own ability. You likes it, so I gave it to you. Guopai handed the ancient jade to you with a smile. The shape is not good. I'll carve a rui later. You did not stand on ceremony. She took the ancient jade and put it on her body. Bugyaku will open the day after tomorrow. What do you want to do next? I think I said last time that I have to get some jade cores. Without jade cores, I can't set up a formation. Many things are very troublesome. Guopai said with a smile. Do you feel that something is wrong recently? Why do I always feel that the human world is not peaceful? You're talking about the third prince in the lower realm, right? Let's not care about this. If something big really happens, it's the Jade Emperor's business. It has nothing to do with us. You said softly, I can only accompany you in the lower realm for 100 years. After 100 years, Sister will find a way to bring me back to the Moon Palace. What will you do then? 100 years? After 100 years, when you go back, I'll be drunk and lying on a beauty's lap every day. That will be the beginning of good days. Ha ha. Before Guopai could finish his words, Yuer's small hand had already pinched Guopai's soft waist. Guopai cried out in pain. All aspects of Bugyaku's renovation had been settled, and the opening time had been set. As for the guests on the opening day, Guopai did not care much. Some people from Mount Baolong, the 531 First Army, the few big families in the imperial capital, and many people from Wu Castle would come. Guopai asked Guyu to come. When the time came, the reception would probably be troublesome in the Gu family. Little bad. What do you mean by troublesome in the Gu family? If it weren't for you, there wouldn't be a Gu family. Guyu said with a smile, Don't worry. The Gu family's mansion can receive a few thousand people without a problem. After we open for business, we still have to recruit some people. After thinking about it, we still have to rely on this merit to cultivate in the human world. I don't want Yuer's wife to return to the heaven realm while I'm still in the human world. Gui said with a mischievous smile. That's more like it, Yuer said with a red face. Are you still planning to go to Takashi University to recruit people? I'm not going to Takashi University. The College of Western Medicine has already recruited the talented and beautiful ones to Bugyaku. There's no point in going there now. Guopai said with a smile as he looked at the three big words on Bugyaku's gate. He did not notice that Yuer's expression had changed. Bastard, you make it sound nice. You want to fill up your merit and return to the heavenly realm with me. After all this trouble, you just want to find another place to find beauties. Big bad guy, you big bad guy. See how I'll deal with you today. Yuer was said as a short sword appeared in her hand. Guopai realized that he had said something wrong. Wife, please spare my life. I said to recruit Chinese medicine students, not to find beauties. Put away the short sword. Swords have no eyes. Don't hurt yourself. Guopai shouted loudly. A group of Bugyaku's students came out. Looking at Guopai's embarrassed appearance, they laughed heartlessly. Gui scoundrel, listen up. This time, I'll be the one recruiting. You just have to obediently wait in the Bu Medical Center. Do you think we don't have a lot of beauties in the Bu Medical Center? PMO has taken them, But don't we still have Sister Shuang and Sister Yaosher? What else do you want to do? Yuer said loudly. Lung Shuang and Lu Yaosher's faces turned red. Sister Yuer, what are you talking about? When the two girls heard Yuer's words, they turned around and ran into the clinic. I, the first wife, have no objection. Why are you shy? Alas, there are very few first wives like me in the heavenly realm, Yuer said with a smile. Chapter 284. Guopai returned to Beijing and rested well for 2 days. On the morning of the third day, Guopai appeared in front of Bugyaku in a long gown. Boss, your clothes look good. You're up so early today. Guopai wasn't the only one who woke up early today. Everyone in Bugyaku woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. They tidied up Bugyaku from top to bottom and stayed in their own places. Boss, how's the promotion in Bugyaku? There's an awkward silence at the opening ceremony. Chinjeti walked to Guopai and said softly, Emperor Jia, don't worry. I'm not worried about the awkward silence. I'm worried that you guys won't be able to handle it today. You guys are the elites of Bugyaku. I won't be the only one treating patients at this opening ceremony. You guys have to help. It's time for you guys to test yourselves, Guopai said with a smile. Chinjeti nodded gently. He switched from Western medicine to Chinese medicine because of the pressure from his family. He also wanted to prove himself now. He wanted to prove that Hua Xia's Chinese medicine was indeed better than Western medicine in some aspects. Little bad, we're not late, right? I've also informed a few old fellows of the Chinese Medicine Association branch in Beijing. They should be here soon. Lin Changtian, the president of the Chinese Medicine Association in Wu Castle, said with a smile. Sorry to trouble you, Elder Lin. I'm afraid there'll be a lot of people today. I'm afraid I won't be able to handle it. Tell the other presidents that there'll be plenty of good wine tonight. Guopai said with a smile. All right, that's good to hear. Tianzhong, Qin Long, Xu Shan, Sun Sheng, the four of you going first. I'll contact the old fellows in Beijing. Lin Changtian said with a smile. Chun Jiadi looked at the few old men of the Chinese Medicine Association. He was looking forward to the opening ceremony of Bugyaku today. Guopai, little you, aren't you going to inform this old man about the opening of your store in Bugyaku? If Yaosher hadn't called me yesterday, I really wouldn't have known that you had caused such a big commotion in the capital. Lu Chenggang, the director of the College of Traditional Chinese Medicine of Takashi University, said to Guopai as he got out of the car. I didn't think it through. Since President Liu can come, I'll ask them to give President Liu an expert position. Today, I'll treat it as free labor. Ha! Guopai said with a smile. Lu Chenggang also laughed. He leisurely walked into Bugyaku. He had been to Bugyaku in Wu Castle before, but the Bugyaku in Beijing still shocked him. Grand, this Bugyaku was indeed grand. Those who received the invitation to Bugyaku knew that Bugyaku opened at 8 a.m. Other than the acquaintances from Wu Castle who arrived early, there weren't many people in the morning. Guopai directly called everyone to eat breakfast. When he came out of Bugyaku, he was stunned by the huge crowd in front of him. Boss, this is too scary. Chao Qingquan and Chun Jiadi followed him and couldn't help but say when they saw the huge crowd. Open the door, Bugyaku. Open the coffin. Emperor Jia, go and hang up the long red lights. 7:18 a.m. Everyone, be alert. If you don't understand something, don't blindly deal with it. Today, do more, see more, listen more, ask more, and think more. I believe that after today, you will go further on the road of Chinese medicine. After Guopai finished speaking, he walked into the clinic. Outside, 10,000 long red lights were ringing. People began to walk into the clinic one after another. Everyone, today Bugyaku opens in Beijing. I think all the friends who come here should know the rules of Bugyaku. Only those who are not in Bugyaku can get a number today. There are a total of 1,080 number cards in Bugyaku. Today, there is no limit to the number of people. However many people there are, we will treat the same number of people in Bugyaku. All the consultation fees will be 50% off. After Guopai went in, Su Tu came out and said loudly, Su Tu's medical skills were average among the 10 people, but he was unique in communicating with the outside world. Guopai didn't plan to let him treat many patients today. If he could maintain the order in Bugyaku today, it would be a great contribution. Friends who have an invitation, please come to the Gu family first. After the ribbon cutting this morning, our master prepared 100 youth retaining pill, 100 meridian opening pill, and 100 Hunyuan pill for everyone. At that time, they will be given to everyone in the form of an auction. 70% of the auction proceeds will continue to be invested in the medical treatment and children's education in remote areas. Friends who are capable can wait for a while to participate. Su Tu continued, Brother, I came from your city. I have been in the capital for several days. I just want to see Bugyaku to take a look at my waist. I don't know where I can get this number plate. A middle-aged man asked loudly, Everyone line up. Get the number plate from me. Don't worry about the first batch of patients who can't get the number plate. We will give it to the patients as soon as they get the number plate. Today, not only our own doctors in Bugyaku, but also several old Chinese Medicine Association doctors from Wu Castle and several teachers from the Chinese Medicine Association in the capital. I believe that everyone will be cured today. After Su Tu finished speaking, several disciples of the Gu family followed Su Tu and gave the number plate to everyone one by one. Then, the patients began to enter the clinic one after another. Guopai didn't start to treat the patients at this time. He just let the disciples of the Gu family lead each patient who entered Bugyaku to different Chinese medicine doctors. He was not busy at this time. Old mister, if your leg hurts, you can go over there. Xiaoxia, take the old mister to Dr. Zhang Tianzheng. Guopai asked a clever teenager of the Gu family to help the old man to Zhang Tianzheng. Then, Zhang Tianzheng felt the old man's pulse, felt the bones, and prescribed the medicine. In about a few minutes, the old man in front of him was cured. After the consultation fee was paid, the old man walked out of Bugyaku happily. Headmaster, I don't understand this big sister's illness. After about 100 patients came in, Jia Xiaoxiao suddenly shouted to Guopai, Junior Tong Yuan, you don't have to treat the patient. I'll leave it to you. Guopai asked someone to call with Tong Yuan out of the backyard and went straight to Jia Xiaoxiao. Her body is cold and her stomach is weak. But from the pulse, I feel something is wrong. I'm not sure, Jia Xiaoxiao said with a slightly red face. Doctor, am I very serious? I can't sleep every day now and I don't eat much. You must help me, the middle-aged woman said softly. Xiaoxiao, it's better to not have books than to believe in books. Chinese medicine pays attention to looking, listening, asking, and feeling the pulse. Why don't you ask this big sister if there are any changes in her diet and work schedule recently? Guopai said with a smile. Take a closer look at the surface of her pulse. After asking a few questions, Jia Xiaoxiao's face showed joy. Then, she felt the old woman's pulse again and quickly wrote down the prescription. She didn't ask someone to get the medicine directly, but handed it to Guopai. Guopai glanced at it, picked up the pen, and added a medicine to it. Then, he handed it to Jia Xiaoxiao again. Jia Xiaoxiao couldn't help but stick out her tongue. Guopai didn't say much and began to wander around them. Big sister, go over there and get the medicine. Boil 3 bowls of water into 1 bowl. Drink it once a day for 3 days. Then, you will be cured, Jia Xiaoxiao said with a smile. Daughter, it's not that I don't believe in your medical skills. I've heard of Bugyaku for a long time. I also have relatives in Wu Castle who have praised Bugyaku's medical skills. But who is that young man just now? He seems to be younger than you. The woman held the prescription and asked softly, Big sister, there's no problem with the prescription I gave you just now, but our home master added an extra medicine for you. Not only can it cure your stomach cold and weak body, but after 3 days, it can also guarantee that you'll be able to eat delicious food. Jia Xiaoxiao said with a smile, He is our master. When it comes to medical skills, none of us are as good as him. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.